building up for a few weeks, that one. And so it should be a lot of fun. So we've got that match. Obviously, we've got a few other things as well. We have got... what is this? I've only just seen this. We've got Global Heritage Invitational. The flip is this? NXT is stacked tonight as we're on the road to No Mercy, a fatal four-way #1 contenders match, the beginning of the NXT Global Heritage Invitational, and a steel cage match. We've got what looks to be Pete Dunne and Charlie Dempsey. Pete Dunne and Charlie Dempsey. Is that a match tonight? Is that a match? NXT starts tonight with a Group A matchup between Pete Dunne and Charlie. When was this announced? Where's this come from? What the flip is this? Where's this come from? Pete Dunne against Charlie Dempsey tonight. Butch. Pete Dunne. I mean, it's Pete Dunne, isn't it? Pete Dunne against Charlie Dempsey. What? Where's this come from? Where's this come from? Okay. So we've got Dijak against Eddie Thorpe. That's had a few weeks builds. Pete Dunne against Charlie Dempsey. Yeah, come on, guys. Pete Dunne against Charlie Dempsey. They've been chatting about this for weeks. I'm very excited for it, though. Don't get me wrong. We've got a match as well. Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez against Kalani, Jordan, and Dana Brooks. So a women's tag match. We've got the steel cage match. We got Joe Coffey taking on Nathan Frazier in the Global Heritage Invitational. And we've also got a fatal four-way. This, of course, is to find the #1 contender for Tiffany Stratton. So it's going to be Blair Davenport. It's going to be Gigi Dolan, Roxanne Perez, and Kiana James. So they're all competing to try and see who is going to be taking on Tiffany Stratton. I think probably the winner will go up against Tiffany at No Mercy, I think. Yeah, I can't believe we got Pete Dunne tonight. I'm pretty excited about that. It's a good looking card, actually. It's good looking cards. So should have some fun tonight. Gitter Down, shout out to you, 1691, good year. Do you think that NXT views the Heritage Championship as NXT other mid-tier championship? I don't know what's happening. Right? It's very difficult for me to talk about this because I don't know what it is. Is this a new title? Like, what's going on? Sorry, what is this? Sorry, the first time I've heard of it is literally like a few moments ago. A Global Heritage Invitational. Is this resulting in a championship? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see what it is. Yeah, probably, mate. Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably be just like the AEW International belt. I'll be like, yeah, just be like that. Yeah. I was saying this down the pub the other day. It'll probably just be like that. You know, that's how I would book it. So yeah. What the flip is it? Never heard of it in my life. So it's very difficult to say, to be honest. Boomer said the Heritage Cup is for the lower cards. Well, hang on. So, I do know it. So it's for the Heritage Cup. That's right. I remember now. So it's... Okay, where I'm getting confused is they said last week that there would be a tournament to face Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup, right? But this doesn't say Heritage Cup. It says Global Heritage Invitational, right? The title is not telling me what it actually is. What it actually is the Heritage Cup tournament, right? Would have been better if they'd have called it the Heritage Cup tournament. Instead, they've added the word global, don't know why, invitational, and they've dropped the word cup. So Global Heritage Invitational is basically the Heritage Cup thing. So the Heritage, we're trying to find the new challenger or the next challenger for Noam Dar, aren't we? Okay, I'm back in the room now. I'm back in the room, guys. Everyone settle down. Settle down. I'm back in the room. I'm back in the game. Yeah? I know where I am now. Where's Pete Dunne come from, though? Where's Pete Dunne? Like, what's he doing here? I don't remember that being announced. Okay. I don't know. Worse memory than me, said Crazy Ginger. Some of those matches do sound good, said Dean. Yeah, they do sound good. They do sound good. It's a decent looking card. It's a decent looking card. I think that we've got a good mixture there. A good mixture. I mean, we're on the road to No Mercy, and some of this stuff has been built quite well. That Eddie Thorpe Dijak feud has been rumbling for a little while. The Creeds and the Dyad have been rumbling for a while. The women's kind of four-way, that was only last week. They all just came down to the ring and confronted Tiffany Stratton, so there's not really much build there, but, you know, four-way to find the new challenger, whatever. It'll still be all right. There's good women involved in it. And then the Heritage Cup Invitational thing, it's just a little tournament, and it's fine who's going to challenge Noam Dar. So, yeah, pretty fun. I think NXT's been doing a pretty solid job, though, recently. So, looks like we're, doing our best. And there's big rumors that Becky could be on her way to feud with Tiffany Stratton. That has been teased. And seems like we could definitely be heading in that direction if rumors are to be believed. WWAW fans said I missed most of the WEP. Had summer homework. To be honest, this was probably a good WEP to miss. I was in ramp mode. I'm in a bit of ramp mode at the moment. I said on the WEP, I think maybe I've hit my anger stage because of like the Bray Wyatt passing. They say like with the stages of grief, whatever, acceptance, like that you go through different stages. I think I've hit anger now. I think about anger because I was having a rant about how Raw and SmackDown I don't think did enough, and I kind of got stuck on that point a little longer maybe than I should have. But hey ho, whatevs. It's so yeah. If you was going to miss one, this was probably an all right one to miss. But I think still an interesting conversation. I think one that people will have differing opinions on, and one that I'm sure hopefully sparked an interesting chat in the community, in the chat. So I really like what we're doing with the WEP at the moment. I think it's a little more focused. Back in the day, it used to be quite all over the show, and I think there's definitely times for that. But I think where you've got like such a big serious topic like the passing of Bray Wyatt, I think you do need to then dial it in and focus a little more. And I think we definitely did that this week. But as I said, I probably did just stick on that topic a bit too long. But I'm human. I make mistakes, and as I said, probably should have left that topic a little earlier. But I still think good that we was a bit focused on wrestling and not jumping all over the place for this week in particular. But I get a recap of the main parts. Yeah, I would say it was half an hour of me moaning. Then we touched on AEW All In and got Tommy's thoughts on that. Then what else did we do? Then I can't remember what we did for the last 20 minutes. I think we momentarily touched on Payback predictions. We spoke about CM Punk and Jack Perry. And we spoke about how funny it was that CM Punk had to use the London Underground. I don't know if you've seen the picture of CM Punk on the London Underground, but there is a picture of CM Punk on the London Underground sat next to a guy who, for some reason, thought that he would do that as a pose. Like, I understand it's the go to sleep. I do get it. But I can't fathom where if I would ever do that as a pose. Certainly not on public transport. If I'm with CM Punk, I'd just be like, sat there, like, maybe a thumbs up or... maybe I'd give one of them. But to be perfectly honest, I'm pretty sure if I'm on public transport, I'm probably just going to be like, can you get a picture? Yeah. Okay. And I'd just be leaning in and like smile. I'd be, pretty casual about it. At no point. And maybe I'm the one that's in the wrong here. Maybe it's me. Maybe everyone else is too cool for school. And I'm just, you know, I'm a boomer. I'm a boomer. I'm stuck in the past. But at no point would my brain go, do the go to sleep pose. Yeah. It's a fun picture. If you haven't seen it, it's a fun picture. In fact, I'm going to find it now. Can I find it? I want to find it. I feel like there'll be people that haven't seen it. I'm going to find it. Pretty sure if you just put CM Punk into X gonna give it to you, then you should pop up there. Can I just say, I've got nothing but respect for this guy. I'm going to show you the picture, and I've got nothing but respect for the guy that's in the picture. I don't want any false narratives being painted here, right? I really respect to the guy. I just don't think that would be my go-to pose. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it would be my go-to pose. Right, here we go. I'll show you the image. Some of you will have seen it. Some of you won't have seen it. God bless this man. Nothing but love and respect. Boom. There we go. CM Punk on the London Underground. They look like that looks like it's his. It looks like he's cheating on AJ Lee, and that's his sweetheart. That's what I get from this picture. If someone went, "Oh, I just bumped into CM Punk. Look at this," and they showed me this image, I'd be like, "Are you going out with CM Punk? Are you like his bit on the side? Like, oh my God, you look so cute together. It's like a little cutie pie pose, isn't it?" Look at that. That is, and I can tell you that is the London Underground. I can tell from the graffiti on the window. Just by the fact that there are marks on the window, like, I don't know what it is, but there's some sort of marks on the window. The fact that the fabric of the chair looks like it's seen better days, right? All of that added together makes me go, yeah, that's definitely the London Underground. Plus also the fact that the no smoking is in the London Underground kind of logo. That also is a bit of a dead giveaway. Although I've never seen anyone smile on the London Underground. So again, you know, I like his jacket though. Can we just take a moment to pay some respect to the fact that CM Punk has got a really nice jacket? I like his jacket. I like his bag as well. Good bag, good jacket, smile on his face. What you don't see is you don't see the fact that this dude got choked out just after this picture by CM Punk. He choked him out. Love it. Carter said, I watched the Escape Pods tribute to Bray. It was brilliant. Shout out to you in time. Oh, Carter time. Shout out to you, dudes. Thank you. I don't think it wasn't what I was intending. I never really go into those episodes knowing what we're going to say. And I think that comes across during the episodes. But it's, you know, yeah. I ranted too much. I know I did. But I was just reading some of these comments. But yes, I'm pleased that you got something from it. I'm pleased you got something from it, but... there's a lot of new details out today, said Bray. Too much to type, but apparently Miro tried to stop it. Monitors fell on Tony. Punk cursed out Tony. With all the incidents involving CM Punk, I'm curious on your opinion as to whether they're better off with him or without him. Thank you, Sean. I think that they are better with him. I think that if I just said to Tommy, look, if I was starting a company, wrestling company, and I'm competing against WWE, I am looking to try and grow new talent, which is what they're doing. They're trying to grow Sammy, they're trying to grow MJF, they're trying to grow Darby, they're trying to grow Jungle Boy, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter. You know, there are talents that they're trying to bring through. The problem is that you're not going to get people tuning in unless you've got some star power. If you don't have Moxley, Jericho, Kenny, the Bucks, CM Punk, if you don't have those names, you're not getting 850,000 viewers which then is not going to expose your up-and-coming talent to the biggest audience possible, right? I mean, I think, you know, if they're struggling to get to 1 million viewers with Jericho, with CM Punk, with, you know, all these people they've got, imagine how hard it would be without them, right? Imagine how hard it would be without them. So for me, they are definitely better with him on boards. But if you bring in CM Punk, you are bringing in someone who generates problems, right? And how he generates problems is he's very opinionated, he's very outspoken, he is someone that demands respect. You know, he will not tolerate fools, he will not tolerate being messed around. But the reason why I find myself defending him a lot is that you know this when you bring him in, right? This should not be a surprise. If you bring in CM Punk and drama happens and you're surprised by it, you don't know CM Punk, right? You don't know what you're dealing with. Clearly you are, dare I say, out of your depth, right? Because you should know that this is either going to happen or has the potential to happen. So I think that you are definitely better with CM Punk on boards. I think that you have to keep a very, very close rein on CM Punk. You cannot afford for CM Punk to just walk around unaided and for, you know, confrontations to happen and people to get rubbed up the wrong way and all this kind of stuff. You have got to really treat him like I can only imagine WWE treat Brock Lesnar. Like, you bring him in, you give him his own dressing room, his own trailer. He's got a chaperone, someone that's going to organize everything for him. I even said, just hire someone. Someone can get paid minimum wage, right? Don't even need to pay them loads of money because, you know, what are they doing? Just getting a few drinks, whatever, right? It's not the most tasking of jobs. But, you know, if you can pay them more, obviously pay them more. I'm not saying that they have to be paid minimum wage, but whatever. You know, just get someone whose job it is to just go and get a few drinks, go and get food when he needs it, make sure that his diary is up to date, make sure that he's got the right contact numbers, and if he hasn't, he's got your number, if you was doing that job. Make sure that his transport is sorted, make sure that he's just, you know, he's not left to his own devices. Just make sure that he's, you know, this person's always around. Now, if CM Punk doesn't want that, whatever, doesn't want that, that's fine. This person can keep a bit of a distance, but they are still around to step in and make sure that, you know, this thing's under control, and that someone backstage is keeping the locker room just genuinely in control. I mean, I don't know who is in charge of cracking the whip backstage. You know, we did have Mark Henry doing that job, I think, in WWE, and then obviously he left. I don't know who does it now backstage, but whoever's doing it is seemingly not succeeding at the moment. I think that there are structurally things wrong with the personnel backstage. I think the hierarchy, the setup isn't quite right. I think that it's easy to kind of point the finger at Punk and say, look, he's a troublemaker, he's causing trouble. Yes, this is what you get with CM Punk. This is what you get, right? But also what you get is a big name. You get big boost to ratings. You get more pay-per-view sales. I mean, Tony sat there and went down a list of achievements that CM Punk had done. He was like, main evented the first $1 million gate for AEW, biggest rating in Rampage history, second biggest rating in Dynamite history, like just went down all these different achievements that CM Punk had done. Tony is very aware of the boost to the business that CM Punk has provided. The problem that Tony has got right now is that not only is this trouble continuing, right, and it's going to be very difficult to settle it down, right? It's going to be very difficult to settle it down. and that's the challenge, right? It's one that I'm going to be brutally truthful with you. Managing CM Punk would be very difficult, and I do not blame Tony for some of these incidents going a bit awry. Okay, I don't know how much you can blame Tony for what happened between CM Punk and Jack Perry. I don't know how much Tony takes the blame on that, because I think that for Jack Perry to say what he said on camera was very unprofessional, right? He is looking down the camera during the pre-show to the biggest show in wrestling history and basically taking a shot at CM Punk, a very public shot at CM Punk. And what did he expect was going to happen? He had to expect that words were going to be said, because we know that CM Punk's not going to ignore it. We know that CM Punk's not going to ignore it. And he knows that CM Punk's not going to ignore it. So he had to know that what he was doing was going to result in confrontation, right? And so that's exactly what's happened. It's resulted in confrontation. And so now we find ourselves where, you know, this altercation has happened, this confrontation has happened, and now potentially CM Punk's going to miss the pay-per-view, Jack Perry's going to miss the pay-per-view, and it's just, it was all once again avoidable. It was all avoidable. You know, I feel the exact same way I did with Hangman. It's like Hangman didn't need to do what he did. That only then sparked a response from CM Punk. And Jack Perry didn't need to do what he did, because that's now sparked a response from CM Punk. Can people stop trying to get responses out of CM Punk? Because if you're going to keep provoking him, he's going to keep responding. You know, and I don't know why people want this trouble. You would think everyone would be in the mentality of, we're battling away for the good of AEW. Like, we're all in the boat together, you know? If someone like CM Punk says you're not going to use real glass, I don't want real glass being used on Collision, right? And that gets said. If you're someone like Jack Perry, you listen, you take it. Like, I don't understand why you then start arguing and why you start being like petty and doing what he did during that match. I just don't understand how that is good for AEW. I don't understand what Jack Perry is going to say that's going to justify the comment that he made, which was, yeah, it's real glass, get over it. Something along those lines. Cry me a river, right? Which is an absolute shot at CM Punk. It's an absolute shot at CM. If that doesn't get said, we don't get the confrontation, right? But it was Jack Perry that decided to make those comments during the show, and it's resulted in the confrontation. Now, some people are going to go, oh, CM Punk threw the first punch, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a flip. I don't care. I don't care. The comment is what sparked it. The comment is the first punch. The comment was what ignited CM Punk's, fury. And as a result of that, there's been this confrontation. So I think that there's a lot of egos backstage. I think there's a lot of egos that are being tested. And I think there's a lot of people that are falling short here. Jack Perry is obviously, a proud man. And he feels that he's been wronged by not being allowed to use glass. I think, to be honest, from what I've read, it's more he was upset that it got out into the public, that people knew that he wanted to do this thing with real glass and he wasn't allowed. And I think he blamed Punk for that leaking out and getting out into the public, right? Rather than just having a word with Punk and swallowing it, right? And just going, didn't like that, but, okay, for the good of the team, we'll move on. Without the ability to do that, or as I said, just having the word with CM Punk going, that can't happen again, right? I really don't appreciate that. Like, I need to be respected more. Or going through the channels, we've ended up with this pettiness, this line being said during the show, which is just going to have ignited CM Punk and wound him up, you know? I mean, I don't know. I don't know whose side Jack Perry was on, to be honest. I don't know if he supported the Elite in that brawl. I don't know if he supported Punk. I don't know if he was a Punk supporter that's then, you know, this incident has happened and he's changed his mind, or whether he was already a bit down on CM Punk anyway, you know? I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know. But what I do know is that for the good of that company, the company that Jack Perry works for, the company that has made him a star, right? For the good of that company. Oh, hello, we're frozen. Give me a sec. Yeah, for the good of that company, they needed to make sure, or he needed to make sure, that he didn't do what he did. He put himself before the company. That's the truth. He put himself before the company. So for me, very much, it's better that he's there. I think that the more of these kind of situations that arise, it's going to become harder for Tony to keep CM Punk around. To be honest, the more these situations arise, it's going to be harder for CM Punk to want to stay. And if he goes, I've no doubt that you might end up with a more harmonious locker room, right? A locker room that maybe doesn't have to walk on eggshells as much. I get that. But you are also going to struggle with ratings because CM Punk does provide a good fan base. There's enough people that tune in for CM Punk, you know, that if you lose him, it's just going to make everything a little bit more difficult. I mean, I don't know how many tickets they sold for Wembley because people wanted to see CM Punk. I don't know how many people tune into Collision because they want to see CM Punk. What I do know is that when he was not around, the company really struggled with its ratings. You know, when he was there, we were getting around that million mark. It felt on a much more consistent basis than what we did when he went. And I think him going and the Elite going and being suspended last year has resulted in the company just sort of settling into a bit of a groove where they've got their fan base. They're finding it very difficult to attract new viewers. And now that Punk's come back, they've had to move him onto the Saturday show. And that's a problem because that's only getting a much smaller viewership because Saturday is just not a good day. It's not a good day. You know, Saturday is kind of Punk not being able to have too much of an effect, to be honest. You've sort of neutralized one of your biggest draws. You know, you've put him on like the worst day, the worst time slot that you could have because everyone's out busy on a Saturday. And we knew from the start the Saturday ratings were going to be a challenge. But what would those ratings be if you take CM Punk off the show? I've got to think that they're going to drop. I can't see him going up. I've got to think they're going to drop. Unless there's a load of Elite fans that refuse to watch because CM Punk's on. Maybe that's a thing. Perhaps there are like a load of Elite fans that just won't watch the show because they're just done with CM Punk or something. I don't know. All of this is just not helping AEW. The only good thing for AEW is I think their shows have been a bit flat. I've said that. I enjoyed their 200th episode, and there was another episode I enjoyed. But most Dynamites, I come away going, oh, you know, not what I was looking for, but we'll see what happens at Wembley, kind of a thing. And then I thought Wembley was average, you know. I was, when I reviewed it during, was it yesterday's stream? I was a bit hard on it because I was really trying to justify, I suppose, why I really did not see it being a 9 out of 10 show. And I've read a lot of comments of people saying it was an 8.5, a 9 out of 10 type show. And so I was quite scathing in my review, but there was plenty about it that I enjoyed. I mean, I don't know that I could have sung the praises for the opening match more than I have. And the second match with Takeshita getting the pin, I thought was solid. But it is true that the CM Punk news was a big distraction during that show. I think that I came away a bit underwhelmed considering the size of the show. But I think the CM Punk news is something that means that really the wrestling world is talking about AEW right now. I mean, yes, they're talking about Bray, but the AEW backstage drama is something that is keeping AEW in the conversation. If you didn't have the backstage drama, the conversation would be more on what's happening on the show, which would be good as well for AEW, but I don't know people would talk about it as much. I don't think the amount of conversation that is happening around CM Punk, around Jack Perry, I don't think that same level of conversation would be there for what gets presented on the actual AEW shows. So if there was to be any sort of positive spin, any sort of shining light, any sort of positive that you can kind of take from it, I would say that it is keeping AEW very firmly in the news, and it's keeping their name on the lips of wrestling fans. And, they say that no news is bad news when it comes to PR. When it comes to promotion, there's no such thing as bad promotion. So, I mean, you could ask Bud Light. They would probably disagree. But, there's no... they say there's no such thing as bad PR. Anything that's going to get you spoken about means that you're being spoke about, and the worst thing is to not be spoke about. The worst thing is for people to just ignore you altogether. So yeah, I think it is very interesting. There's constantly updates and things that are coming out. It looks like both have been suspended. Although last I saw, Fightful, Sean Ross Sapp said that he didn't think that was actually true. So, I don't know. It's a bit... I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't suspend them. I said what I would do. I would do an investigation. I would purposely drag my heels. I would. I'm being honest. I would. I'd purposely drag my heels. If the investigation took a day, I'd be like, are you sure? Double check that. Double check what? That bit there. Go and double check it. And then they'll come back the next day and they'll be like, no, I don't like the look of that. That doesn't look like you fleshed that out enough. Go and double check that. And I would just keep doing that until I get to next Monday, right? And I would definitely get past this weekend. And I would definitely have CM Punk in Chicago. And if I have to have flipping Brock Lesnar, right? Escort him to the ring and escort him back from the ring and escort him to his plane and escort him from his plane and whatever, right? Then I'm moving mountains to do that. I'm doing whatever I need to do to make sure that he ain't interacting with anyone. He ain't causing any trouble, right? He's not even going to talk to anyone. He's going to turn up. He's going to have some foods. He's going to put his gear on. He's going to go to the ring. He's going to do his match. He's going to go back to his locker room, changing room, trailer, and then he's going to go home. And that's it. And I would do everything I could. And then on next Monday, then I'll deal with the investigation findings. And I would then, I might have to look at suspensions. It's hard for me to sit here and say, oh, what would you do? Would you fire CM Punk? I don't know, because I genuinely don't know. We're still finding out bits, aren't we? We're still finding out all the little details. Without all that information in front of you, how could you say? How could you say? Because, as much as you can go, all right, it's Jack Perry's fault because he said those words which then ignited the confrontation, right? You could look at it that way. Some people are going, well, no, because CM Punk threw the first punch. It's whoever threw the first punch that gets the, words are one thing, but physical is something different. And I could see that. I can understand that. And that's why CM Punk would not be getting off scot-free, right? That's why CM Punk would have to face some degree of punishment as well. So certainly I'm not sitting here saying that it's all Jack Perry and Jack Perry would be fired and that would be it, right? Because it is true. If CM Punk was the first one to get physical, then he does have to face repercussions. He does have to face repercussions. I don't know what they are. Without all the facts in front of me, I don't know what they are. But yes, we're looking at suspensions. Yes, we're looking at fines. Who knows? As I said, we could be looking at CM Punk leaving. Because CM Punk himself might think, do you know what? Screw this. Screw this. I don't need this drama. Screw this. And honestly, if you get to that point, then the decision is made for you, isn't it? There's nothing you can do then. It's out of your hands. CM Punk's gone. And honestly, then you're going to struggle a little bit with ratings, because there really, really is not many people outside of WWE that are going to bring in viewers. I cannot stress enough how hard it is to compete for views, likes, engagement, any engagement. There is so much going on in the world for TikTok, YouTube, video games, you know, a billion streaming platforms. Like, you are competing for people's attention. And it is so hard in this day and age. It is so difficult. It's easy to look at a number and then go, ha ha, they've not done 1 million views, right? It's very easy to do that. There's another way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is hard to keep 850,000 people engaged week after week after week after week after week, let alone get it up to 1 million. It's hard to keep the 850, right? Or whatever it is that Collision's doing. It is hard. So losing CM Punk is surely not going to help you get an increase in your viewership, and is surely only going to hurt you having to try and maintain that number, right? So to answer your question, and it always takes me a while to answer questions because I like to go into detail. I would be trying my best to keep CM Punk, yes. Corey Johnson said, follow the Buzzards. Rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. 1987-2023. Yep. I just thanked Bray on the Wrestling Escape pods. And actually, as I was doing it, in my head, I was thinking, don't think I did this on SmackDown or Raw, to be honest. And I should have. And so I suppose now is as good a time as any, really, just to say thank you to Bray Wyatt and thank you to Wyndham for everything that he had done. It was amazing to watch his career. I think it still hasn't properly sunk in that he's passed away. I am totally fine with it in the sense of I'm not crying myself to sleep or anything like that, right? I think it's not one of those that is, oh, you know, are you all right, like, kind of situation. It's not that. It's not that at all. But it is one of the hardest wrestling deaths that I think I've had to deal with, that I've had to, like, you know, get my head around. And I think we've just spoke about him so much on this channel that I find myself still, even now, not quite believing it. Even now, if I'm going to be completely truthful, you know, I did a video of, like, the unanswered questions, and if you checked it out, I hope you enjoyed it. I really, you know, knackered myself out yesterday, to be honest, making that video. I spent so long on it. I tried to get it done for yesterday, and I didn't get it finished in time. And so I was pretty, like, tired. I think I went into the Raw stream a bit tired because I'd done that video. And I didn't get it finished. I only had to do a couple of things today, and it was done. So it ended up going out today. But I was doing that. I mean, I was doing that yesterday. I finished it off today. And so I was watching, like, Funhouse clips. I was watching moments. And again, you know, just thinking, like, that's it. That's it. It's like, there is no more. Do you think he'll be at Payback? Do you think he'll be at Survivor Series? Do you think the puppets will be in the background? Do you think Dutch and Vincent are going to join him? Who do you think will be in the Wyatt Six? Do you think they'll bring Rowan back? Do you think Braun could be with him? What do you think's going to happen with Howdy? What's the relationship between Howdy and Bray? Who's that character at the Royal Rumble that when you put the mask on? Do you think they will look to have the puppets come alive at some point? Like, all of those questions have gone. It's all done. It's all gone. It's hard, isn't it? It's really hard. Really difficult. And again, I have to keep saying this. The big thing is kids have lost a father. A partner has lost a partner. A man has lost his son. A brother has lost his brother. That supersedes anything I'm saying. That's above anything I'm saying, right? I'm not... If I'm sitting here saying like, oh, you know, we've lost Bray, we'll never get a fun house. Yeah, if you're sat there going, who cares? I'm right there with you. But I feel like all of that is a given, right? All of the family stuff is a given. I think it's all right for us as fans to go, that's a given. Absolutely, that's the priority. That's the people that are hurting most. But how strange for us as fans, as people that enjoyed his work, that wanted to see him succeed. How weird for us that all that stuff that I've just said is gone. It's gone. No more Funhouse. No more Fiend. No more White Rabbit. I mean, I suppose you could do White Rabbit for someone different, but it's not going to be the same. I feel like when Bray wasn't around, there was a lot of people asking and a lot of chatter about him. When will he be back? Will he come back? I seem to remember like a few "We Want Wyatt" chants on Raw, and a few like, you know, people dressed in the front row as the Fiend. I remember seeing people dressed as the Fiend when Bray wasn't around, and I remember a few signs of "We Want Wyatt," and I remember a few chants of "We Want Wyatt," and I remember chatter on social media of, you know, quite regular of like, do you think Bray's coming back? I miss Bray. Perhaps it's because we've done so much Bray stuff. I see a lot of the Bray fans and the conversations they're having. But there was a lot of chatter around, we want Bray back. When's he coming back? Do you think he'll come back? I miss Bray. And all that kind of stuff. So even when he wasn't around, I feel like I could never escape him. Not that I was trying to, but I'm just saying that even when he wasn't around, it never felt like he was actually that far away. And I would say the same is true since WrestleMania. He's been gone since WrestleMania. But even though we haven't seen him since before WrestleMania, I still don't feel like he's ever been that far away. Because the chat has always been, do you think he'll be at WrestleMania? Do you think he'll be at Money in the Bank? Do you think he'll come back at SummerSlam? There's always word, rumor, speculation, chatter. You know, it's just always there in some form. It's just always there. So really, going back to, for me, the Husky Harris days, going back to when he was on NXT and Cody was his pro and he was the rookie, he's just always been there. It's always been there. Even when he's been out the business, the speculation has always been there. Even when he's been injured, the speculation has always been there. And for that to now completely go, and that's it. It's if I'm struggling to process it, if I'm struggling, and I think I'm a pretty grounded person, right? I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm just saying I think I'm a pretty down to earth, grounded person. If I'm like, if this is not me for 6, I just think, what about the kids that are out there? What about the real, because I don't class myself as a real hardcore Bray fan, right? I have no Bray tattoos. Bray is someone I really enjoy watching and talking about, doing theory videos on, and there's parts of his career that I didn't enjoy. I'm quite happy to talk about that. There are parts of the Fiend that I felt was too supernatural and went too far, right? I've been very vocal on that. But that doesn't mean that I didn't want the best for him, or that I didn't want him to, you know, when he went too far, all I wanted was for him to pull it back a bit, go back to where he was, because I loved where he was. I loved the Funhouse. I loved when we first saw the Fiend. I loved the Wyatt family. So when he did go too far, all I wanted was for him to pull it back. Hence why when he returned, yeah, okay, what's he going to do now? What story has he got? What story has he got? What's he going to do? And so I was right there. I was right there for White Rabbit. I was right there for the return at Extreme Rules. I was right there following the Uncle Howdy storyline. We were there. We were right there. Like, go on. I mean, I said I actually thought the pitch black match was all right, and I said it at the time. I thought the pitch black match was all right. Yeah, not the greatest thing I've ever seen, but I thought it was different. I thought it was innovative. I thought that it was something I'd never seen before. And to be perfectly truthful, in 2023, if you can do something in or with a wrestling ring that is not going to offend me, right? I don't need someone going in there and just, defecating in the middle of the ring, right? Because I've never seen that before, but I can't say I'm eager to see that either, right? If you're not going to do something offensive with a wrestling ring and you're going to show me something I've never seen before, wow. Wow. In 2023, after all the wrestling I've seen in my life, wow. I've got respect for that. And I ain't seen nothing like the pitch black match before. And I was not offended by the pitch black match at all. I thought it was solid. I thought it was a bit short, but I thought that, he was fighting with LA Knight. Felt like a fight. I thought he looked like a badass. I thought he looked like a world champion. I thought he looked like the end boss. Certainly when he put that mask on, and just he's like, is that it? Like a monster. It's like a monster had jumped off a comic book. He looked incredible. And as I said, in a roundabout way, what a fitting final match. Very innovative, very different, very creative. Something I'd not seen before. I thought cool. I thought entertaining. And I think in a way that sums up the man. I think it really sums up the man. I think you could use all of those words for Bray Wyatt's career. So, yeah, it's a difficult one to process. And I think if you are still trying to get your head around it as well, I keep saying it, but I just think it's a really good message to send out. I think it's the message that I want to hear as well. And that is, you're not alone in struggling or still not getting your head around it. You're not alone. And I was very critical of WWE's shows. I didn't think they went anywhere near far enough with paying respects. And as a result, I feel like we've not really addressed the loss. I think Tommy said that on The Weapon. I thought it was an excellent way of wording it. I don't think we've addressed the loss. And so I think there's probably people out there that are still searching for ways to address it. And if that is you, then, as I said, you're not alone. Corey said, can we change the name of Collision to Attrition? Let's do it. Let's do it. It's a cool name, actually. LA Dark Knight said, Punk's new song, The Jams, Going Underground. Going Underground. That's a tune, man. If he started coming out to that, that'd be sick. We do have a graphic for Terry Funk, and it's the same graphic, which is not a problem. But I would have been shocked if we didn't do the graphic. But we do get the graphic. We're seeing footage of last week's Heatwave. You like it? Logan Murphy, shout out to you, my friend. Logan, you're firing in quite a lot of super chats, but I massively appreciate it, but you don't have to do it. We're just cool cats doing cool things. I mean, we're not, but we're trying to be. But I massively appreciate the support, dudes. Logan said, did you hear that Bray's final hours are that he went to take a nap and that his wife went to wake him up and he wasn't breathing because he wasn't wearing a mask that helps his heart whilst he sleeps? Yeah, so we slightly touched on it during the Wrestling Escape Pods. I don't think it was a mask. I think it was it's something that goes over your heart, I believe. It's a defibrillator. What a defibrillator is those, the clear, and they put the pads on and try to shock the heart. So if your heart stops, you need a way of restarting it. And one way is to just give it a little bit of an electric shock. and that kind of gets, wakes your heart back up, kind of a thing. So this defibrillator thing, I believe I don't actually know what it looks like, to be honest. I don't know. I'm guessing it's a vest of some kind, or something that maybe like goes around your chest. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what it looks like, but it serves that purpose anyway. And he was told that due to your heartbeat being so weak, if it does stop, then this will kick in. This can tell if your heartbeat has stopped, basically, and it will automatically bring you back. And I said to Tommy, just as like, why would you not wear that? If you're told by your doctor that you need to wear it, why would you then go home and then just leave it in the car? And I can only imagine, and this is nothing but speculation, that there was a bit of depression and a bit of denial. Because I think that if I put myself in his shoes and a doctor says to me, your heartbeat is so weak, you need this thing, I am probably thinking to myself, that could be my career done. That could be my career done. And that could be a big thing to have to face. And I think there was probably a bit of denial, a bit of like, I don't need this. Or I ain't facing this right now. I ain't dealing with this right now. I'm going to take a nap. And, it's a nap that unfortunately he didn't wake up from. So, yeah, Logan, I did hear that, but it's terribly, terribly sad. There's not really any positives that you can find in any of this, of course. But if you was to find any crumb of comfort, any crumb, and when I say crumb, we're talking about the tiniest atom. Like, I would say him passing away in his sleep is probably the best way to go if you're going to go. But it feels stupid even saying it, to be honest. It feels like it's such a stupid thing to even say. Yeah. But at least, like, he took a nap and passed in his sleep. I think if I'm going to go, that's probably the way to go. But I am going to go. I just don't know when yet. So, yeah. Right. I have to try and pick ourselves up now. I find we get into the Bray conversation and we go, oh. And then it's like, right, let's try and get out of this pit, shall we? Has anyone got a ladder? Has anyone got a bit of rope that we can get out of this pit of depression? Right, we're going to do it, though. We're going to do it. We're going to change gears. We're going to change gears. We're going to focus on NXT, and we've got Dyad against Creed Brothers right now. And right now, I can tell you that Julius is on his own because Brutus has been took off by the other schism members. So it means that Julius is having to try and battle the Dyad in the cage on his own, 2 against 1. What can he do? I love a cage match. I love a cage match. We spoke about this before. Like, what's your favorite stipulation? I couldn't think of an answer because all of them have been done to death. And so, like, a lot of them just don't hit anymore for me. Falls count anywhere, last man standing, I don't know, strap match, dog collar match, I don't know. None of them just really get my heart going. None of them really get my pulse racing. None of them get my juices flowing. But there is still a little something about a cage match. I think because the structure looks cool. If you do falls count anywhere, still a ring in it. If you do dog collar match, all right, you get a dog collar, but not a cage. So seeing like a steel cage around the ring, that's cool. And They can be a bit brutal as well. And I've just got good memories of cage matches from when I was young, so I do enjoy a cage match. And I'm going to be spoiled this week because I've got this one right now, and then I've got Becky and Trish. Oh, look, I love a stretch muffler as well. Oh, I do enjoy a stretch muffler. And that's exactly what we just got there by Julius. Julius with a stretch muffler. Wow. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Julius just kicked. I can't remember his name. I still think of him as James Drake. It's Rip Fowler and Jagger Reed in it. He just kicked Jagger Reed. Jagger Reed like bent over with one hand. He picks him up and power bombs him down with one hand. This is a hell of a showcase for Julius Creed. Julius Creed could be an amazing singles wrestler. Amazing singles wrestler. He could, I mean, look at him. He's just ripped. This could be John Cena. This could be Randy Orton. Julius Creed is built different, man. He's built different. Motix said, did Bray forget about putting it on? At least JoJo found him and not his children. Still sad. I really don't. I mean, I don't think you forget about such a thing. I don't think you forget about such a thing. If you get told by a doctor that your heartbeat is so weak that you need this device, I don't know how you get to a position where you forget about it, unless you've been told that before and this wasn't the first time and it's never been, you know, it's like a safety precaution in a worst case scenario, and maybe you just don't take the threat seriously, you know? If it was that, then, well, I mean, is that, I mean, look, he's I don't think he's forgot it. I don't think he's forgot it. I think that there is a bit of denial. I think there's a lack of acceptance. Maybe he's been in that situation before, and it's a case that he didn't need it before. It's just doctors covering their back, you know. It's just doctors just trying to justify why they get paid what they get paid. You know, they're saying this because they want to cover their backs. If something happens to me, then you know, it's going to come back on them. So here's a defibrillator. Where's a defibrillator? I don't need it. I'll take a nap. I don't need it. Needed it. I put it down to that personally. I put it down to that. But I mean, we'll never know, obviously. But yeah. Yeah, you're right. At least it wasn't his kids that found him as well. They're just they're only crumbs. They're only crumbs of comfort, and they're not even really comforted. But I totally get where you're coming from, Motix. I totally get where you're coming from. They are just these little crumbs, aren't they? You know, at this time you're just trying to find any little thing. Melanie said, I was thinking of the Von Erich's curse and the Wyatt family with Brody and now Bray passing. Do you think there's a curse or something going on? I don't believe in curses. It's not, I don't really believe in curses. I don't believe in curses. So I don't think there's a curse. I don't think there was a Von Erich curse. I just think that life's hard. I just think life sucks sometimes. I just think that we never know. You know, there's bad things happening in the world every second of every day, and you just don't know what's going to happen to you each day. You just don't know. I mean, there's people that have, you know, been murdered, just popped out, went to the shops to get some milk, and, you know, been followed by a stranger and never made it home. You know, I'm not trying to scare people, right? don't have nightmares, but none of us know what's going to happen any day. Any day, you know? I could have a heart attack tomorrow. Could be, you know, easily, I don't know. Hopefully not. But you just don't know. You just don't know. So I don't believe in there being like a curse. I just think that life is hard. It's hard. Life is difficult. And that's why you should really, really try to enjoy each day. We said this before, you know, we spoke about how do you help yourself? Like when we say look after yourself, what does that look like? Well, it looks like doing something that you enjoy. Take a moment each day to do something that you enjoy so that you, in a way, celebrate each day. Could be nothing. Could be a piece of cake. Could be a piece of cake. It could be, you know, half an hour to watch a TV show. It's like earlier, I did exactly that. I ordered a pizza, which I never do. My brother came over, so bought us a pizza. Had a beer, which again never really do. I was streaming, so I didn't go crazy. I only had like one, but had a beer. Had a takeaway pizza, sat and watched a TV show and had a chat with my brother. And that is something I easily could have not done. I could have just sat here, like, you know, getting ready for the streams. But I took that time to do that. Brutus has made his way back down. And I think, like, you know, make sure that you're doing stuff like that. That you are celebrating each day. And those celebrations can be as big or as small as you want. The door has been ripped off by Brutus. Brutus just wiped out a load of Schism members. I mean, there was how many people here? It's a little bit... Oh, my God. I mean, it looked a bit silly. But, you know. The door has been ripped off. I think there was around about 10 people that Brutus just chucked down to the ground. Brutus is all kinds of fired up. The door's about to be ripped off the hinges. It is. He's grabbed the door. I think he's going to use the door as a weapon, which is kind of fun, to be honest. I didn't need 10 people being knocked down by Brutus, but him ripping the door off is pretty fun. Driving the door into the dyads, who are on either side of the ring. Yeah, this is fun, man. This is good. This is really good. He chucks the door down. Yeah. Booker T's enjoying it. Yeah. Butch against Charlie Dempsey. It says Charlie Dempsey's USA. Is he USA? Oh, it was English. Gets picked up. Butch has got Rip Fowler, hurls him into the side of the cage, and the cage looked like it buckled momentarily. You got Gacy and Ava. Come on, we can do this. Crowd are chanting, this is awesome. Butch has exploded in. Brutus has exploded in, sorry. Brutus has exploded in. And goes over to Julius. Got Butch on the brain because of the Invitational. They showed a graphic of him. Armband, by the way, on Gacy for Bray. Again, going over the other side. Hurled into one member of the dyad. Hurled into the other. Obviously, Creed Brothers need to win this to get reinstated. I mean, they're going to win, aren't they? They're going to win. Oof. Julius gets hurled into Brutus. Goes into the side of the cage. We've got Jagger jumping off Rip Fowler, drop kicking into Brutus. Brutus is down in the middle of the ring. Really good action. Didn't like the 10 people being dealt with on the outside. It's very Cody and the security guards from a a month or so ago. But I like the door spot. And now Dyad are trying to... It's like a guillotine, isn't it? Look at this. They've got the door and it's coming down on his head. On his head, I tell you. But Julius is trying to prevent this from dropping down on Brutus. They're trying to get back up to their feet. Now the Dyads are underneath the door. Dyad going over into the corner. They get picked up there by Julius. Julius has got them both on his shoulders. Brutus bomb on both. Crowds are enjoying it. So Dyad are down in the middle of the ring. Creed brothers looking to finish him off. 1, 2, 3, and the Creeds get a pin in pretty fun open for NXT. Gacy stares at Ava. Ava starts walking away. Why did Ava just walk off? Why is Ava just walked off? I don't want to see Ava and Gacy split up. I hope that's not where we're going. I really like their relationship. She must have been disgusted with what she's seen here tonight. Ava has walked away. So Creed brothers are reinstated. Ivy Nile is in the ring. Joe Gacy is confused. Look at all these flipping schism members. Do you know what? I'd be disgusted as well. I'd be disgusted if one man could destroy my whole following like that. if I had all these schism members. Right, we've got Roxy. Right. Melanie said, what do you think of the Von Erichs? Oh, great family. I mean, tragedy hit them. I think I don't see it as being a curse. I see it as being a hell of a lot of pressure on a family. Hell of a lot of pressure. You know, that family was just under the spotlight so intensely that I don't think that can be ignored as to why they had struggles, you know. I think there was a lot of drugs that were involved as well. There was, it was a rock and roll lifestyle, you know. It's a rock and roll lifestyle, and it's no coincidence that, you know, you look at the rock and roll world, plenty of people have passed away at a young age in the rock and roll world. You know, they say about all those people that died at the age of 27, there's like a famous thing that like it's kind of known that a lot of rock and roll superstars pass away at the age of 27. It's just a coincidence type thing. And I think that the Von Erichs were very rock and roll. So love the Von Erichs, one of the greatest families in the history of wrestling. So important for their territory, of course. That's their father-owned, Fritz. And, yeah, I think that they... I don't believe in it as a curse. I just think that there was so much pressure on that family that it just, you know, went the way it went. Are you excited for All Out? I'm not that excited, said Logan. I'm really struggling with AEW. I don't think that's, you know, anything I've hidden. I have watched the show of a Wednesday, and for me, the show has a few moments that I enjoy, but by and large, I do find myself feeling underwhelmed by the episodes. of Dynamite. And in all fairness, a lot of people say, yeah, Dynamite's a bit hit and miss, but, you know, Collision is where it's at. Collision's the better show. I can't watch Collision. You know, I don't doubt for a second that I would enjoy Collision, but I can't watch it. Well, I could, but I couldn't watch it live. Akira Tozawa is coming down to NXT. We've got different groups and everything. We're doing like the G1 here for this. It's weird, isn't it? Duke Hudson, Nathan Frazier, Joe Coffey. There's a proper G1 going on. Just the winner gets 2 points, the loser gets 9. I love it. I love it. I mean, it is just a G1, but so the winner of Group A and Group B will face each other on September 26th. It's. I mean, can I just say this is brilliant because it means that a load of matches now have got some at stake. Like they are competing for points, and those points. The only thing I would say is that the prize is a bit rubbish for such a big effort. You know, I know we're having a few different conversations here, but I'm just focusing on this G1 Global Heritage Invitational. It's not just a tournament. It's 2 tables where, you know, you get points and you have to win your group, and then the 2 group winners go up against each other. But the prize for the G1 is that you are the G1 winner. That in itself is like winning the Rumble, right? But you get to then compete for the IWGP Championship at Wrestle Kingdom. And Wrestle Kingdom is New Japan's WrestleMania. So, like, if you win the G1, it's like winning the Rumble. It's an achievement in its own right. And then you get to main event and go after the IWGP at basically WrestleMania. With this, you get to challenge for the Heritage Cup. After all of that, whoever wins gets to compete against Noam Dar. That's it. Like, I don't know. I sort of feel like the winner of this should compete for the NXT Championship at the next pay-per-view and be the main event against the NXT. Like, it feels like you should, you know, maybe the prize needs to be a bit bigger than what it is. But I like it. I like it. It means there's going to be a lot of matches that's got a lot at stake. It sounds like a poor man's G1, says Jim. There's a reason for that, Jim. There's a reason why it sounds that way. What was we talking? I can't remember what we were talking about now. I was talking about something, and I'm sure it was very interesting. So interesting, I can't remember what it is now. I was distracted by the G2. I'm being really rubbish as well at reading comments at the moment. I do apologize for that. I'm not purposefully trying to ignore reading comments. It's just there's so much to dig into, you know. There's so much that I feel we have to talk about, or we've got to, you know, whatever. It's just a bit tricky at the moment. So, like, the conversation doesn't really flow or bounce as well as, you know, not that it ever does, really. I've always been bad at shutting up. But I'm just finding it extra hard at the moment. So I do apologize for that. Let's try and go down and see what is being said. So Planet Dan ASMR said, I can't help feeling that somehow maybe he knew, and that's why he went to take a nap. Maybe it was subconscious. 1 Minute Wrestler said, awesome. Wrestling Wide, I have got a channel. 1 Minute Wrestler. Check out 1 Minute Wrestler's channel. Dean said, life is full of surprises. You never know. Yeah, what I would say is that can be a positive as well. Yeah, you can have positive surprises, not just negative. So, you know, I'd hate for anyone to be like down after, like, you know, we've said you never know what every day is going to bring, but that can be a good thing as well, you know. So just, you know, try and make sure that you're doing stuff you enjoy, and, you know, if you can go to bed every night and think back on the day with a smile on your face, or maybe there's been some stuff that's been rubbish, but at least if when you got home, you can do something that puts a smile on your face. You know, you can, as I said, have that bit of cake or watch that film or play that game or chat to that friend or catch up with a family member or whatever it might be. Do it. Do it because, as Dean said there, you never know. Backstage, we got Carmelo and we got Tony and we got the Street Profits. Here's one of life's positive surprises. Street Profits on NXT. Let's go. Yeah. They're here to see Carmelo. Yeah. Okay, here's Carmelo's gone. Oh, man, I mean, I was really starting to think, like, could the Street Profits be trying to get Carmelo for their new group? They look good in suits as well. They should be in suits. Montez just looks like $1 million, doesn't he? How you doing? Street Profits having a laugh with Tony and Stacks. In the background, we've got a brawl breaking out. Lola Vice, Electra Lopez, Dana Brooke, Kalani Jordan. Okay, and we've got Charlie Dempsey. Charlie Dempsey, we've got a USA flag. I think there's an armband there that's Metaphor have got the old lounge that Toxic Attraction used to have. That's a good idea, actually, because this thing's going to run till the end of September. It's going to run for a month. So you might as well have Metaphor watching on, you know. Here's Butch. Oh, can't you just for one night call him Pete Dunne? For one show, can't you call him Pete Dunne? Butch making his way down. Bruiserweight, bruiserweight, bruiserweight. Matches have a 12-minute time limit. Wonder why 12? Round robin style tournament. Pinfall or submission earns 2 points. A draw is 1 point. Winner of Group A faces the winner of Group B. The winner will face Noam Dar at No Mercy. So Butch is in the ring. Oh, I need to change it on screen, don't I? Being a bit lax here. Butch versus Charlie Dempsey. Tell you what a little match this is. These two, very similar in style, aren't they? That catchers catch can style. Hit up by Butch. I wonder if these two have ever faced before. I would feel like they should have somewhere at some point. I don't think Pete was in NXT UK when Charlie started. Headbutts coming in there by... These two could go, man. These two could bang, couldn't they? They've got very, very similar style. And I feel like they would know how to bring the best out in each other. Lovely work there by Charlie Dempsey. This is going to be a real treat. If you're a wrestling purist... You're someone that really enjoys the grappling, really enjoys the reversals, the different holds. This is one. Look at that. He's got his foot right on the head of Charlie Dempsey. Is looking to work the fingers. Charlie Dempsey, though, grabbing the back of the knee and collapsing the leg, which then gets... Butch down, look at trying to grab a hold of the leg. Now he's the one that's working on the fingers of Butch. Puts the hand down. Look at the holds. Oh, stomp on the arm. That's a move that you see a lot from Shayna Baszler. Middle of the ring, side headlock. Over against the ropes. Butch in the middle of the ring. Goes down on the ground. Charlie Dempsey. Butch leapfrog. Goes down again. Drop down clothesline by Butch. And look at that. His nipples are poking out. His nipples are saying hello. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? Joint manipulation. This is the first time they faced each other, says James. James, shout out to you. Wrestle with Andy said Daze, Dempsey's new finisher is the everlasting elbow dropper. You're not letting that go, are you? Not letting that go. Undercover manager said loads of respect for Bray, and it's really sad that he's gone. Will be a huge miss, but can we not talk about it so much? We wouldn't want everyone being sad on every episode. Well, I don't know. It's a tricky one, that, because I think that this is only the third day that we've really spoke about it, because Friday we spoke about it because of SmackDown. We may have touched on it during AEW, but I feel like the boxing, I really focused on the boxing. AEW, I mean, the CM Punk news, I feel, dominated that stream. So obviously we spoke about it during Raw, and now we're talking about it today. Obviously, as we get further away from it, it's going to become less and less. But I don't know. I can't not. To be honest, I can't not. I really criticized WWE for just like not talking about it and just sort of moving on. I just don't feel that way. I think if you don't want to focus on it at the moment, that's fine. But I don't know. Maybe stay away from the streams for the next couple of days. I reckon by the time, like, you know, we get into next week, probably, I mean, like Payback, you know. I don't know. It's hard to put a time frame on it, but still trying to get our heads around it. Still haven't quite got my head around it. So it's very difficult to, like, move on from something that you haven't quite accepted, you know. Well, yeah. Working on the fingers there, Butch. Picking up, Dempsey. I don't know what we call these moves anymore. I mean, that was the bitter end back in the day, but I don't know if it still is. It's a win there for Butch. So Butch beats Charlie Dempsey as Metaphor watches on. Days when Vince retired, did Triple H take charge of head of creative? Imagine if he could bring all the people back they fired. Isn't that a good idea? Said Scott. No, it's not a good idea. I mean, like, we're in a different place now, you know. So it's a win for Butch. We got Ilya Dragunov backstage. I want to dig into that last comment. And we can. Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea because people got released like in the year 2000, 2001. They've gone to different companies, so they're under contracts. So, you know, they're not available. Some people have left wrestling. They don't do wrestling anymore, so they're not available. It's not like those wrestlers that got released are just like sat at home twiddling their thumbs. And to be perfectly blunt and truthful, we have NXT that's just constantly producing talent. You know, there's such talent. There's great talent that's coming out of NXT. So those spots on the roster have been filled with, you know, the next generation of talent. So I think when Triple H took over, he brought back a few people he wanted that he felt should be in the company. We saw like Dexter Lumis, Karrion Kross, Chelsea Green. We saw Bray. Bray came back. Braun came back. There was a few that Triple H looked at and went, yeah, I can do something with these. There's a space on the roster for these. But, you know, I think they released like, I don't know, 200 people. I mean, you can't bring 200 people back. Plus, as I said, you know, a lot have gone to, say, Impact or New Japan or Noah or MLW or wherever. And then you've got others that just completely left wrestling. And to be brutally honest, I am not a believer in not honoring contracts. I've said it before, I think you honor contracts. But I think there's also a good amount of talents where I wouldn't have extended those contracts. I think there's a good amount of talent that had reached their potential, their ceiling, you know? There's people that you looked at and you could sort of understand why we were letting them go. But I still don't agree with them being not their contracts not being honored, you know? It's business, and business is dirty and ugly, isn't it? It's dirty and ugly, and sometimes it's ruthless and cold, and I understand that. I understand that that's how it's a dog-eat-dog world. It's a nasty world, and I understand that it's not all roses and everything, but I'm still a big believer that if you give someone a contract and say, here's money, here's, you know, I want you for 5 years. Well, if you're going to do that, then, you know, you commit to that. That's, you know, that's something that you've agreed and you're going to commit to. I'm not a believer in this budget cut nonsense. You know, it's a load of rubbish. It's a load of rubbish. And so, maybe you could swallow it if they were in financial trouble, but their revenue has just been through the roof quarter after quarter after quarter. How they can justify cutting a budget when they're making so much money, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know how they don't get sued. I think, to be honest, I don't think if you do a budget cut, I think that is basically, in the eyes of the law, like an acceptable reason for like releasing someone. So it's I think it prevents them from being sued, but it's all dirty, isn't it? It's something I've been very happy to criticize WWE about. But that's why you can't look to bring them back. Here's Dragon Lee. Here's Mustafa Ali. You went one-on-one with Dom and you lost. I'm so sick and tired of seeing that outsider, Dominic Mysterio. We deserve a champion we can be proud of. You stepped up to the plate and you struck out. So Mustafa Ali with some harsh words for Dragon Lee. Ilya is in the ring. It's going to be an Ilya promo right now. Ilya. Oh, that match was good, man. That match between him and Trick was... Trick Williams, you impressed me. Number one trend right now is WWE NXT. The way you stood your ground in this ring deserves everyone's respect. Let's go. Carmella Hayes, you know. We will fight. Oh, it's Noam getting. What's this? So Noam interrupting Ilya. I get to sit back, relax, and watch all these dafties rip each other apart. You're out here begging, pleading for a rematch with Carmelo. Okay, so where's this going? Noam Ilya for a bit. Just to give him something to do. Real, recognizes real. No look required about me keeping the Heritage Cup, says Noam. Trying to figure out where this is going to go. Richard said it feels like Ali's new gimmick was scrapped. Yeah, that's a good point. That kind of... yeah, that's a really good point. I really like that as well. I really like that. What noise is she making? Noam's not scared of anyone, says Lash Legend after making some noises. He's got excuses, lots of excuses. Ilya takes his jacket off. Calm. No, Noam's telling Ilya to calm. Noam said, don't make me destroy this beautiful lounge by slapping you all over the place. You muppet. Oro Mensah has made his way down to the ring then, so it looks like we're going to get Ilya Oro Mensah. I owe this to you, my brother. He does owe it, in all fairness. He was the reason that the Heritage Cup was lost in the first place. So Oro has stepped into the ring. Now we're exchanging forearms between Ilya and Oro. Kick coming in there by Ilya. That was beautiful. And he did it in loafers as well. Now Dragon charging over. Oro gets out the ring. So is this a match that we're getting later, or? Okay. Here's Von Wagner with his "You're Gonna Get Tabled" shirt on. Talking about Bron Breakker and Baron. Let's take this a step further. Tuesday. Did he just say, make sure that you bring like yourself and your energy and I'll bring the hard wood? I don't think he thought that through. Right. Here's Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. No wonder he's bringing the hardwood. Right. Defcon Prime said, feud of the year, Ali versus HR. Ali lost again. Yeah, no, really good point. Really enjoyed his state of the nation type, address. That kind of promo that he cut. I thought it was very good. If that has been dropped, I think that's a real shame. Because I think that he is someone that has constantly struggled with trying to find the creative that fits. Because I think there is a really good wrestler there and there is a passionate talker there, but he is struggling maybe from the same issue that Ricochet is struggling from. There's a great wrestler there. He can cut a bit of a promo. Not Ricochet, maybe not as well. His promos have always been seen as a little more of a weakness, but he is such a great talent. I mean, everyone remembers the Will Ospreay Ricochet match, and look at where Will Ospreay is now, and look at where Ricochet is now. And so you kind of look at Ricochet, and you just think, there's a presentation that's missing. There's just a little tweak that needs to be made. I mean, I loved him when he was Prince Puma. When he was Prince Puma in Lucha Underground, I think I remember watching Lucha Underground, not knowing who many of the people were, because I mean, a lot of them were under masks, and a lot of them were like local, smaller talent at the time. Obviously, as time went by, then there was a few names that came over. I know, like John Morrison did a bit of work in there, whatever. But I remember looking at Prince Puma. I didn't have a clue who he was, and it was Ricochet. And this was years before he joined WWE. And I was really impressed with him. Really loved his moveset. I loved his look. He was, I don't know, I mean, he was like a modern day Tiger Mask, And I'm sure that was probably an inspiration. But in WWE, he's just a dude. He's just a dude. There's not really much to him. I do like I think you could do a bit more with his relationship and Samantha Irvin. I think that's something that actually makes him a bit more interesting. The fact that he's going out with the ring announcer, or engaged to the ring announcer, or married. I don't know where we are with that. But I think that's one of the more interesting things about him. So we could probably use that a bit more. And I thought it was good that it got brought into the Logan feud. But yeah, I would say Mustafa Ali, Ricochet are kind of in that same boat of being very credible, but just lacking that edge, that creative, that thing that just puts them over the top, And I don't know if that State of the Union, State of the Address, whatever you want to word it, that kind of presidential candidate campaign rally announcement, I'm just saying words now, but that's that kind of promo style, that vignette, if that was a way forward, I felt like you could do stuff with it. And imagine if what he was saying attracted a few followers, and all of a sudden he started to get somewhere. You've got Chase U. What if you'd started a Ali for president type movement, And you had a few people that were really believing in Ali and were following Ali, and you could keep doing those type of promos. I think there's potentially something there. Whether it would work, proof would have to be in the pudding, wouldn't it? Sometimes you have to take these chances. But yeah, if we have dropped that, I think it's a real shame. Real shame. Matt said, so we are underway with this women's tag match. There was definitely drama teased between Dana and Kalani Jordan. So I'm thinking that it'll be a win for Lola and Elektra, and then we will get probably a breakdown in the Dana and Kalani relationship. Kick out, shoulder up by Kalani. Matt said, if Tony Khan, let's go. If Tony Khan decided to grant control to AEW to another person, someone more draconian and stern, what policies would you like to see them implement? I don't think there needs to be like a policy change, to be honest, because I think you want, you know, I would want there to be I'm a big believer that if you want to get the best out of people, you've got to allow them to feel comfortable. You've got to allow them to feel like they can express themselves. And I think that some of that is really positive stuff that Tony has brought into AEW. I think you can give people too much leeway. Sometimes people think they know what the best thing to do is, but it's not always the best thing to do. So, you know, we've sort of seen like a few things on AEW which I think could have been vetoed, could have been scrapped, could have been like gone through some sort of creative control. So I don't know if there's a policy in place for segments being signed off and okayed. I mean, I would imagine there are. It just sometimes feels like there isn't. But like actually in regards to like, you know, backstage stuff, I mean, what can you implement? What policies can you implement? Don't choke people. Don't choke people. You're not allowed to choke people. I mean, I feel like that's probably an unwritten rule anyway. Perhaps it needs to be written. I don't know. Don't choke people. Don't get into fights in locker rooms, especially if there's dogs in attendance. Don't bite people backstage. These would be the policies that I'd be looking to introduce. So I don't know. I don't think there are like policies that you can like bring in and like rules that you can bring in. I think that you just have to be very careful with some of the interactions, you know. Maybe one of the things is that you have like a really, really good liaison, talent relations person, someone that is a go-to for the wrestlers. And maybe one of the things are that if you've got a problem with someone, that you go to the talent liaison, talent relations person first. You don't go to the person, go to the talent relations liaison person, and we get this sorted properly. Because it seems like certainly where CM Punk's involved, if he's trying to deal with it himself, Lola gets the pin. So Lola gets the pin and the victory. So yeah, perhaps like can't be trusted to, like, you know, try, some of the boys can't be trusted to deal with some of the issues. Perhaps we need it to go through like a bit more of a structure. But that's a hard thing to implement, you know, because there's so much that goes on backstage. You can't have everything going through the talent relations person because they just wouldn't get anything done. There's like so much that happens. There's so many conversations that have to take place. But I think, you know, certainly if you've got some big beef, then, you know, maybe CM Punk shouldn't be going directly to Jack Perry, right? Maybe that should go through like a talent. But I don't actually know who does talent relations in AEW, but there must be someone. I don't know who it is. I said before, I know it used to be like John Laurinaitis. I know that JR has done that role in WWE. John Laurinaitis has done that role in WWE. I know Mark Henry has done a sort of similar role. I don't think he was more talent relation. I think he was more like a bit of an enforcer, just going around making sure people are where they need to be. And if there are any issues, like making sure it doesn't get out of control, perhaps AEW could benefit from one of them. Someone backstage that, you know, just makes sure things don't get out of control. And you have a talent relations person as well. So maybe but it's an interesting question, Matt. It's an interesting question. It definitely feels like it's not right, the current setup. But I would have to imagine that even Tony's aware of that now. So it'd be interesting to see how he responds. And again, I know that we knock Tony a lot, but I do have to be crystal clear. Managing CM Punk would be very difficult. So I do respect the struggle. I do respect the fact that it's not an easy position to find yourself in. So. Big Time said, I know WWE making the mass releases were disappointing, but there's no denying there was a burden and a weight lifted off WWE's shoulders. Yeah, but that's a weight that they put on their own shoulders. So I don't have any respect, or, you know, I don't. They put them, I mean, what you could say is they put themselves in a bad situation. They then got themselves out of that situation, right? And it's business. So you could certainly look at it that way, like, you know, cry me a river, whatever. But the way I look at it is that you saw that AEW was starting. You tied everyone down to contracts that paid them really well. I mean, I remember in 2020, during our watch-alongs, we were talking a lot about how talent were like getting whatever they wanted. Crazy sums of money being chucked around to make sure that people did not go to AEW. There was a real panic around 2019, 2020 of we need to lock everyone down into these contracts because we do not want them going to AEW. And AEW was offering good money, so it meant that WWE had to match it. And I think there probably was a bit of, you know, AEW going bigger than they normally would, so that knowing that WWE would have to at least match it, otherwise the talent would go for the money, you know? So there was all this stuff that was going on. WWE got themselves into a right situation, and then we end up getting the mass releases. But I don't have any sympathy. I really am. I'm a big believer that a man of your word. I think there's real honor in being a man of your word type situation, you know, that kind of stuff. And certainly if you're going to write it down in a contract, and, you know, certainly if we're talking about people's livelihoods, imagine you got a contract for 5 years for 100,000, 200,000 a year. Let's say 200,000 a year for 5 years, right? It's £1 million or $1 million. It's $1 million. This is serious money where you could be looking at getting yourself a house, getting a car, all that stuff. You might go and do that early in your contracts because, well, I've got a contract for 5 years. I'll go and do it now, buy a house, good wise investment. That's a wise investment, you know, and a car, good car, and, you know, maybe you go on holiday or whatever, and then a year later, budget cuts, and you're gone, and that's it. I mean, you're really messing with people's lives by doing that. So I really struggle to find respect for it. Hey, look, we're backstage with Trick and Carmelo. Gotta cut out all the noise. Focus on the main thing. He was in the ring with Ilya. You know I can beat him. Trick said, I think so. Can I beat Elia? Yes or no? Good. Good. Carmelo's got doubt as to whether he can beat Dragunov without Trick being around. Good. I like that. It adds intrigue. I was just talking. He said something. I didn't catch what he said. I'm going to listen. What did he say when he walked away? I don't think you can. I know you can. Ah. I don't think you can. So, wow. Okay. That's good. So he said to Carmelo, I don't, and he didn't finish. And Carmelo went, it's all I needed to know. And he walked off. And Trick was standing there and he went, I don't think you can. I know you can. Like, he didn't get a chance to finish what he wanted to say. So, had Carmelo allowed him to finish his sentence, maybe he would have liked the answer a little more. Life lesson there, guys. Life lesson. Right, Dijak versus Eddie Thorpe. Let's go. Says, Roddy Piper was the nicest wrestler I've ever met. He's also the only wrestler I've ever met, if that counts. I don't think it's relevant. I think we'll just keep it. He was the nicest wrestler you ever met. And we'll inject a little bit of positivity into the stream. I feel like the streams are lacking a bit at the moment. Understandably. Big Time said, how ballsy was it for WWE to release Bray in the midst of high speculation? Bryan and Punk were close into signing with AEW. I think it was... I don't know that it was ballsy. I don't know that that's how I would term it, because it was their choice. They didn't have to, right? So it was their choice. So they decided it was better for them to do it. So I can't say it was ballsy, but I think Vince just found it hard to work with him. I mean, there was lots of reports of them not seeing eye to eye. I think Vince, there was lots of reports of Vince kind of, talking down to Bray as well, berating him, and it being not the best relationship. And I think that relationship had just broken down. I think it had just broken down. And to be honest, I think part of the problem is that Vince is the be-all and end-all. Vince tells you what to do and you do it. Yes, you can absolutely say, I don't think that's the right way forward. I want to do this instead, blah, 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 and get your point across. But there's going to come a point where Vince is going to go, no, we're doing this. And then conversation's over. And from what I've heard and read and seen, I think that Bray would stand his ground, which, you can certainly applaud, because I would imagine that Bray had a better idea as to what needed to be done with The Fiend and everything than Vince did. And so I think that it was a real battle over creative, and I think that that's just got to the point where Vince had enough. So I've always believed that to be the reason. I mean, I don't know if we'll find out any more on this stuff now that obviously Bray has passed. Kick to the midsection. But yeah, I don't know that I would say ballsy, because I just don't think that they were necessarily thinking about AEW when that decision was made. I'm sure it was a consideration, like, well, if he gets released, he'll go to AEW. I could envision Vince saying something like, well, he'll be their problem then. I suppose in a way, a bit like CM Punk. CM Punk can be their problem. Well, Bray can be their problem. The only thing is, I don't think Bray would be a problem in AEW, because I think Tony would very much just let him do what he wants to do. So I think there wouldn't be that same battle, that same conflict. Dijak's got Eddie Thorpe looking to, wow, spin him round, hurl him into Booker's chair. It's a good job Booker had got up. Dijak's coming over. What's Dijak's gloves? Is that maybe a bit of a tribute to Bray at all? I don't know. Dijak, yeah, is it her heel gloves? I think I've just seen the word heel. I don't remember seeing him wear these kind of gloves before. Yeah, he's got hurt heel gloves on. That's cool, isn't it? That's cool. It's like the side plates to Seth's belt that was pointed out in the stream last night. That's a lovely touch as well. Lovely, lovely show of respect by Dijak there. Big boot coming in. 1, 2, 3. Dijak picks up the victory. So the right hand was wrapped. I couldn't see what it was wrapped in, but it was covered with some, and he cracked Eddie Thorpe. So what was it? Like a strap, like a belt or something? Some sort of belt or strap. And he cracked him in the face. Eddie Thorpe goes down. And it is a win for Dijak. We unfortunately never got the highly anticipated Talk is Jericho interview. But at the same time, maybe Bray didn't want to burn bridges, says Big Time Baxter. Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed we just didn't get any sort of insight. I mean, on a purely selfish, very selfish mindset, if you will, like point of view. I've always looked forward to a Bray Wyatt book or a Bray Wyatt sit down interview, him going on Talk is Jericho or him going on Broken Skull Sessions or whatever it might be. I mean, Bray interviews were always very rare and never very long. I was looking forward to, I suppose, what we've had with The Undertaker, you know? I mean, the Last Ride documentary is one of the greatest wrestling documentaries that's ever been made. And I feel like you could have done one of those for Bray as well. That just would have been absolutely fascinating. And I don't know that we'll get it. I hope that they put something together. I think you could still do a Bray documentary. You could still do people sharing their thoughts. You could still do people telling stories that we've not heard, you know. Won't be the same with Bray not being around, but I hope that they do that. Because it'd be fantastic. It'd be so insightful and so interesting. Here's Baron and Bron. Have these NXT superstars found like a really awful cheap t-shirt printing company? Because you've got Von Wagner walking around with "you're gonna get tabled" white text on like a black top, and I've got flipping Bron Breakker with "best spear in the business." But it's the kind of thing that, like, you know, if you're going on a stag do or a hen party and you want to get like 30 shirts made up real cheap, it's that kind of thing. Tribute to Bray next, which I'm guessing is going to be the video package, which I wasn't expecting on NXT, to be honest. I thought they'd probably just do the graphic at the start. But, yeah. I said, not really any expectations for NXT. Main roster is where, you know, he spent his time. This is where there's people that had matches with him. Whereas people down in NXT, I know he used to be in NXT, but that was a long time ago. And the superstars there now didn't really interact with Bray. So I didn't have any expectations for NXT. I'm not worried about the tone of the show tonight Like, for me, this isn't. For me, this is, you know, a graphic at the start. That'll do. I don't have any expectations from NXT, but nice that they're playing the video package. Really like the Hurt and Heel gloves from Von Wagner as well. Nice touch. So yeah, you know, fair play. Be nice, actually. I tell you what, be really great, and I don't think they will have done it, but if this is a different video package that maybe focuses a little more on his NXT time and his FCW time, his time where he was in developmental, and we see maybe some footage of him when he first came in and the beginnings of the Wyatt's character. And, you know, he has a match. I've said this before. He has a match with Jericho in NXT. Bray against Jericho from like 20 something. 2013, I think. It's a long time ago. I think it must have been about that 2012 or 2013. But I think it'll probably be the one we've seen. It'll probably be the one we've already seen. 3 of the same video packages is a bit ridiculous. I would have liked a bit more creativity, says Big Time. Wan said, I didn't know that another company would talk about another company's death. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what WWE did for Brody, to be honest. I can't remember. I think when someone passes away, I think the rivalry stuff should go out the window. I think the pettiness should go out the window, because it's just, you know, it's irrelevant, isn't it? It's irrelevant. I think WWE will have a policy, which might be that if... Well, I don't know, actually. I was going to say, if it's someone that has competed for them, then they'll do a graphic and everything. But if it's someone that they've never like done anything with, then maybe they won't. But I seem to remember I don't know if there was a graphic, but I seem to remember Jay Briscoe being mentioned, and to my knowledge, he never competed in WWE. So Jay Briscoe was definitely acknowledged by Michael Cole. And obviously there was like armbands that were being worn, and they were allowed to wear black armbands for Jay Briscoe as well. So I don't know. I think it must be on a, you know, an individual basis. Right, we've got Angel Garza. How long we got? 45 minutes. Is this blood? What's going on? You all right, mate? Blood on the hands of Angel Garza. Oh, God, has he killed someone? What's going on? Opens the door. Umberto had a dream about their grandfather. He was talking to me. Ugh. Going on? So they've both woke up with marks on them. Well, they've been attacked by a puma. He's looking down on us. He was a great luchador. No. I've got his fire. You've got his heart. They're ripping up the Los Lotharios t-shirt. We'll do it for him. Well, I mean, Angel and Umberto return next week. I like the representation of them. I like it. I like the fact that we're gonna book them more credibly. Booker says that he's going to miss. Terry Funk put Texas wrestling on the map, and he says Bray Wyatt gone well before his time. We love you, and we will miss you too. So a couple of words there from Booker. Obviously, the footage of him finding out live on stream kind of went everywhere, and you could tell he was shocked, just like everyone else. That is very high off that Heenan Hydro straight jacket style Mania 4 at Trump Plaza, where Macho won the belts. Tournament all PPV. Trump had front row. What is the greatest lyric to theme music? Tits. Greatest lyric to theme music. I mean, my first reaction is Shawn Michaels. I think I'm cute. I think I'm sexy. I'm just a sexy boy. Sexy boy. Boy. I'm not a boy toy. Boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. Sexy boy. I like Dusty's as well. But it's not really a great lyric, is it? He's just a common man, working hard with his hands. I think that's the lyric. I don't know, what other great lyrics have there been? Some of them, like, it's kind of hard to count, because some of them, like Triple H's, are like actual songs, you know? Or like Bray's was done by Code Orange. I think it, like Shatter, I believe, was an actual song. I don't know if I can count those. I don't know if I can count like ones that were like actually songs, like Motorhead stuff and the Code Orange stuff. Feel like that's cheating a little bit. So I don't know. Are you ready? Says her. Bow to the master. Break it down. Was that an actual song? I don't know if that was an existing piece or if it was done specifically for DX. Don't know. Wonder if Cena will talk about Bray on SmackDown. Yeah. I think I read he was going to, actually. I'm sure I've read somewhere that he is going to. CM Punk's song is fire. Yeah, but that's a song, innit? That's Living Colour. I don't know. Perhaps other people are willing to count those and they're all acceptable, but I don't know. Just taking a song that's already out there I feel like that's cheating a bit. Marcus said, what are your thoughts on Ava Rain? I think she's very early in her development. I think that, I mean, she has only had one singles match. I think that she is really getting the character work that she's doing. I don't look at her as being, you know, fake or like out of place or just here because The Rock's got her in and she's not taking it seriously. I think she is taking it seriously. I think that her character work is good. I mean, like, she's been involved in a few stories with the Schism where she's like, we got Fireflies in the NXT arena, and we got some thank you Bray chants, and the commentators are joining in as well. And Bray's music plays, and the rocking chair. Like a flipping memo. He's gone out to the shows, like played the tribute thing, then do the music, show the rocking chair, and that'll do. It's like, I feel like we've seen the same thing 3 times now. If there was another show, we'd do the exact same thing. I do agree with Big Time. There is a very, it's very corporate. It's very like, this is what we do. Yeah, I think her character work is good. I think she's believable. I think she is limited in the ring. We haven't seen a great deal to judge of her. She's had like a couple of tag matches and 1 singles match. She didn't look bad, lost, but equally, I can't say that there was really much there. There wasn't really much meat on the bone. It was pretty standard stuff, not that long, and what she did looked okay. But as I said, she's quite early in her development. So, yeah, I can see her still being in NXT in a few years' time. What she's like with promos, we don't really know. You know, she said a few words. Like, she's part of the schism at the moment. And so she's, you know, when it's time for their segments, she will get a few lines to say. So, again, you know, we haven't really branched out on that yet. I sort of feel like where we are with her is we introduced her, I think, was it last year? I feel like it might have been like late last year. I don't think it was this year. She's been around for, you know, a bit now. But I think, like, definitely the confidence is there. She is, you know, she's grown into the role. She's doing some good character work, I think. We've seen her, like, shouting at Gacy, shouting at the dyads. There's been a few little looks between her and Gacy. I think she understands the character. She understands her position in the group. She understands what she needs to be conveying. There's lots of things that you have to learn that people don't really take into account. So, you know, you've got to know where the hard cam is. You got to know your timings. You got to know the segment, how the segment's gonna, like, you know, play out. You need to know your lines, but even just the structure of the day. So, you know, what time do you arrive? What time do you need to get changed? What time's rehearsal? What time do you need to be at the gorilla position? And, you know, when you walk out there, like, what marks do you need to be hitting? Like, what's your pose in the entranceway? What's your pose when you get into the ring? Like, they go over, don't they, when they're all wearing masks and, like, lean against the ropes, and then they take their masks off. So, you know, just little things like that, like nailing, like, any poses in the entranceway, nailing your timings, nailing, like, looking at the hard cam, and, you know, not turning your back on the camera. And when you're wrestling, not turning your back so much on the camera, and making sure that, you know, you're constantly facing the camera, the hard cam. You're constantly trying to keep that in mind when you're wrestling, or trying to engage the crowds, not just ignore them. Lots and lots of little things, you know, and that's, you know, not even talking about your look, not talking about you know, catchphrases or social media presence and all this kind of stuff. Like, there's so much you have to learn, and it's not just wrestling. There's, like, all this other stuff that goes around building your brand, your character. That's yeah, I think she's just progressing. I don't think she's anything special at this stage. She's not a prodigy. She's not someone that you look at and go, oh my god, she's going to be a WrestleMania main eventer. She might get there because of her name, and, you know, once they're done building her up, but we're you know, we're a good few years away from that. We're a good few years away from her just getting to the main roster. When she gets to the main roster, we're then another, you know, 3 years plus away from her even being in a conversation about WrestleMania main event. So, you know, if she's going to main event a WrestleMania, I think you can say, WrestleMania 46, 47. I'm thinking around that kind of ballpark. And that I'm talking the earliest, and it's WrestleMania 40 next year. So yeah, she's got a long road to go down, but she's young, man, so she's got time. I belong to mommy, says Dom. It doesn't matter what happened at Heatwave. Dom's going to hold this championship until he retires. For life. He's going to hold it for life. Dragon Lee and Mustafa can keep arguing. Why don't you fight it out? And I'll fight the winner at No Mercy. Oh, Dominic's going to be special guest referee. Special guest referee Dominic Mysterio for Mustafa Ali against Dragon Lee. And the winner will face Dominic. And there has to be a winner. Right, we're carrying on with the Heritage Invitational. We've got just over half an hour to go. And it is time for Joe Coffey versus, I think it's Nathan Frazier, isn't it? Well, it is going to be now because I've written it. I've written it, so it's got to be. Right. Sean, shout out to you, my friends. Massively appreciate the support. Big shout out to everyone that's been joining us as well. I know these streams have not been the most entertaining in the world. We always like to have a bit of a laugh and a joke and everything. And I know I keep saying it's just a little tricky at the moment, what with everything that's been going down in the wrestling world. But you know, as each day passes, each stream passes, we'll I'm sure get more jovial. So yeah, it's just I'm sure people understand. Sean said the unanswered Bray questions was very good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I commented on the video saying that if Bo was open, I think Howdy could be a character to reintroduce and build. There is potential there. Yeah, I need to go through those comments. I've purposely not done it yet because I did say at the end of the video, like, if you've got thoughts on what's been discussed or you've got some other questions that you think need answering, drop them in the comments. So my plan was to kind of leave it for 24 hours, go back to the comments and then go straight down and see what people were saying. So if you've not seen that video or not left a comment, then feel free to do it, because my plan is tomorrow to literally start at the first comment and just work my way down. I agree that you could have Bo bring Howdy in and you could do something. I just don't know what it looks like, because I don't think we had really settled the Howdy character. I feel like there's something there, I agree. But if you look at the mask, and we said in that video, you start with the one mask and then it changes to a different mask. And I think that was a creative change. I don't think that there was two Howdys or anything like this, or two different actors, or I think it was just they looked at it and thought, oh, it needs to look a bit better. So I think it was just a creative thing. But, you know, this shows that we were making changes even after the character had debuted. And I think there was more changes that needed to be made, actually. I think there was more that we needed to do. I don't think that character had quite found itself, had quite grounded. So yeah, I think that there's a way forward for Howdy. I think if Howdy was to walk out, he'd get a crazy reaction, because everyone knows now it's Bo. So I think there'd be a lot of goodwill towards Howdy. I would really be tempted, and I'm just thinking this as I'm talking, I'd be really tempted to make Howdy face. I would be really tempted to make it a little more known that it was Bo. I wouldn't call him Bo. But I don't know how I would do that, though. But what I'm thinking is, could you imagine Howdy wrestle him in a match? Give him something that looks quite credible, right? Because I think the long jacket and the top hat and the twirling of the hand, these gestures, I think they're part of his character, but I would be tempted to lose elements, to be honest. I think if we can have him come out and be babyface and sort of look at the crowds, and the crowd knows that it's Bo, and he could, like, you know, look out at the crowds and, like, you know, give a bit of a gesture, whatever, make his way down to the ring, still can have the mask, because I think it looks pretty cool. But, like, I don't know, bring maybe, like, I don't know, has he got white hair? And maybe that goes back to being black. Keep the mask. Maybe you have, like, a black beard rather than a white beard. You can still keep the Uncle Howdy name, but I just think, could you imagine if he wins a match and he's, like, looking up at the heavens, and I can in my mind, I can just see it. I can see Howdy being supported because everyone knows it's Bo, and I can see him, like, achieving something and looking up, and people just being right there with him. But I think the current version of Howdy is not right. It's not settled. It's, you know, him walking out and doing this, and I don't know what he's meant to be. I can't even place really how old he's meant to be. I can't. So many barriers. Like, I don't know who he is. I said all this in the video. I don't know his relationship to Bray. I don't know why he was never mentioned before. I don't know where he came from. Where did he come from? Is he a friend? Is he a family member? Is he, what is he? Who is he? Where did he come from? Did Sister Abigail bring him? I mean, we never, it was never established. Did Bray meet him in a mental asylum? You know, maybe Bray was, you know, we know that there was tweets at the end of 2018 that were like, patient is making a good recovery, blah, blah, blah. And there was a lot of speculation that at the beginning of the Funhouse, that the Funhouse was in a mental asylum. And that was a theory I loved. You know, this mental asylum that Bray had been treated in, that, you know, they tried to, because there was a whole thing about puppet therapy. So honestly, we went pretty deep back in the Funhouse days, but there was a whole thing about how puppet therapy is there to help victims of, like, abuse and stuff. And so there was a thought that what if Bray had gone mental and he'd been in a mental asylum because he'd been missing for a little bit. And what if, like, there was some sort of puppet therapy that was helping him come to terms with some parts of his life that obviously had caused trauma, but, like, it hadn't helped. It had only made things worse. And now he believes that he runs a fun house, and these puppets are his friends, and they reflect parts of his past, and blah, 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 right? This was all stuff we were talking about when the Funhouse was around. And what if one of those other patients was Howdy? I don't know. I don't know. Or what if his brother, Bo, was suffering from the same thing, and they both went to the mental asylum, and, you know, Bo is now adopted this Uncle Howdy persona, or I don't know. It'd be one of those where, do you know what? You get a coffee, you sit down, you lock the door, and you go, we ain't leaving this room till we've sorted out the backstory, till we've sorted out what the character's going to look like, till we've sorted out what the creative is for the next, like, you know, foreseeable future, and you just get it sorted. But as a starting point, I would definitely look to keep Bo around if he wants to. I wouldn't just drop the Howdy character completely unless he wants to, unless he thinks that he'd rather just be Bo again. And who knows? Maybe that's the right way forwards. I'd be well open to that if you do just drop Howdy and you just keep him as Bo, because I think the people are here to support Bo. I think if Bo walks out, be it as Howdy or be it as Bo, I think the fans will be right behind him because of, you know, what he's been through and his brother passing. People will be there for him. So maybe this is an opportunity to just drop the Howdy character, and rather than trying to tweak it and change it, maybe you just bring him out as Bo and you just back him with good creative, good storylines, and you know, that moment again where he's, you know, I'm doing it for him type stuff. People can feel that, and it's not using it. It's not a negative. It's not like, oh, what, you're just going to use Bray? Like, it's not that, is it? I mean, if that's anyone's approach, then you could say that Ray has used Eddie. You know, it's not. It all comes from a place of respect. This isn't about Bo using Bray to, you know, become a world champion. It's, who knows where he could get to, but this is about paying respect, and it's about trying to think how to word it. Not healing, but it's, I think everyone feels like obviously affected by what's happened, and I think channeling that by getting behind someone. Words aren't quite coming to me, but I think you might get what I'm saying. Like, that's healthy. That's healthy. So it's not a negative thing. It's a positive thing. We channel our pain, channel it into getting behind Bo and rooting for him, you know? So it's part of the healing process, if you will. So I would see it as that. I like it. I think it's a good idea. So yeah, Sean, shout out to you, buds. Love the comments. I think you could keep Howdy, or you could go back to Bo. Coffee picks up the win. So Joe Coffey picks up the win over Nathan Frazier. So Gallus were constantly getting involved on the outsides. Just seeing a replay of the finish to this. Nathan Frazier going up top. He was perched. Joe Coffey moved out the way. Big discus lariat and a pin. Meant that Coffey picks up the victory. And it's not one of those tournaments where you get eliminated. It's really good, actually. I like the G1. It's where you face the other people, and it's about getting as many points as you can. So you could still lose and qualify, but you are now just making it harder for yourself. Coffey picks up a couple of points. And Gallus are in the ring. Chase U. Derek, I'll get to your comment in a second. James, I'll get to yours as well. Right, we've got an empty seat in Chase U. Obviously, Thea is struggling. You don't think she's skipped? She won't skip. She won't skip. Duke Hudson has been named as a competitor. Big cheer for Duke. Okay, they're just talking about the rules. I've got full confidence that Duke's going to bring home another trophy. So he's just written down. It's not much of a class, is it? All they've done is gone over the rules of this match. Here's Thea. Oh, yeah, and it was a good class as well, Thea. You'll be gutted. You'll never guess what they went over. Yeah, it was really important. Thea's got her arms folded here. She's not... I've got plans to go out. She's going out with JC Jane. Thea is going out with JC Jane. Oh, my God. He's going to corrupt that girl. Miles is tidying up. NXT Anonymous is showing us some behind-the-scenes footage. Fallon Henley just having a word with Miles. Miles obviously has been dealing with Charlie Dempsey and Drew Gulak. Miles is up for a match on NXT. I really like the presentation of this Miles guy. I haven't seen much of him, but I really like his presentation. Like, he's being intimidated. He's like seemingly, you know, starting at the bottom type situation. And he's being a bit abused by Gulak and Dempsey. And Fallon's like, you know, you could have a match on NXT. And he's like, me? I could have a match. She's like, yep. And he's like, I could have a match on NXT. She's like, yep. I can get that ball rolling for you if you want. And he's like, that'd be cool, man. That'd be cool. Like, the presentation of him is like really, he seems like just a really great guy. That's good. I find myself rooting for him. I'm like, yeah, go on, mate. Go and have your match. Oh, go on. Go on, mate. Yeah, I'm down for that. Down for seeing what they do with Miles. I think his name's Miles Bourne, is it? Miles Bourne? I feel like I have seen him before, and I can't really remember where. It might have been NXT Level Up. Might have been NXT Level Up. I caught a few episodes of that last year, and I think he was on that. I haven't seen much of it this year, if I'm being honest. Right, James said Daze or bring back Bo, his real life self, but with a name moderation, Taylor Wyndham Rotunda. Have him carry the family legacy and tribute to Bray. Sonny just thought of that. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I think either way, have him as Uncle Howdy, have him as Bo. If you're going to do the Howdy thing, I think you've got to try and find a way of acknowledging that it is Bo, it is Bray's brother. I would definitely be having Howdy, like, you know, a little gesture to the heavens. This is for you type stuff. But you could go, as you say, the other way and have it as Bo, and or change his name to Taylor Wyndham Rotunda. I don't know if that name rolls off the tongue. That's the only thing. Taylor Wyndham Rotunda. Like, you can understand why they changed it to Bo Dallas and to Bray Wyatt. Taylor Wyndham Rotunda. Yeah, I think that people will know that it's Bray's brother. So either. Austin, hello. I don't think I've said hello to Austin. It's nice to see you around, buds. I don't think I've seen you in a little hot minute. Juan said we still have the Fatal 4 weights coming up. Scorpio said they can give Bo a dark healed character. Derek said what if in time the Cult of Wyndham is Bo, not Howdy, with Braun and Rowan and others associated with Bray to continue the story left behind Alexa, Randy, Seth, Roman. He'd want to help. So what you do, Bo, Braun, Rowan. Yeah, the only thing I would... yeah. I don't know what Bo's like as a talker, to be honest. I don't remember him getting much promo time when he was on the main roster, and certainly not when he was in the B team. You know, he was in the B team with Curtis Axel. That was just like a jobber team. I mean, they really were just... They had nothing for him, so they shoved them together and just had them jobbing out, and they were called the B team. Their T-shirts was a white T-shirt with a B drawn on. I think they were printed, but they made it just look as basic as they could. And so I don't remember them getting much in the way of promo time. I don't know if I think they could do some really good recorded vignettes, but I don't know how strong he would be as a talker live. And I look at a group like that, and I think, well, I don't think Braun's an amazing promo. I don't think Rowan's an amazing promo. I don't know about Bo. So then do we need someone in that group that can sort of lead that group? But then... Are we defeating the object a little? I suppose what I'm saying is, do you need Gacy? Do you need to bring Gacy up and have Gacy as the leader of a Braun, Rowan, Bo type group? Because Gacy can talk. And Gacy is one for the future. And when you have these groups, you tend to have one for the future in there, you know? Like Judgment Day, you've got Dominic. Rhea was pretty established, but I think we can all agree she's as big as she's ever been, you know. Before Judgment Day, she was in tag teams, wasn't she? She was in a tag team with Liv. So she's doing, like, you know, she's women's champion now, and like having a decent run, and obviously the stuff with Dominic. Damian Priest, I mean, Damian Priest was not struggling, but nowhere near as over as what he is now. So I sort of think if you're going to do like a Wyatt family type thing, then, you know, do you need to put a young talent in there? But if you do put a young talent in, should they be the leader? You could make the argument that, you know, do you just put someone in, like, you know, in the background, like Dijak? So you have Bo as the leader, Dijak, Rowan, Braun. Do you do something like that? But then without knowing in 2023 how good of a talker Bo is, it's hard to say if that's the right way forwards. It's tricky, innit? It's tricky. Obviously, it's going to depend as to what Triple H is going to want to do. My gut feeling is he probably won't want to do any of that. My gut feeling is that he'll probably, you know, just carry on with what he's doing and the plans that he's got. I don't know that he'll want to put together a new Wyatt family or anything along those lines. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with Bo. I mean, Bo's under contract, isn't he? He is signed, so there's going to have to be some sort of conversation. But Bo might turn around and say, "Nah, I'm out. I'm done. I came back for my brother and I'm out. I'm out now. I was quite happy with my..." I need to clean my palate. Tyler Bate talking about Dabba-Kato. Butcher and I have known each other for a very long time. Butch is probably my biggest rival. Oh man, I'm so down for Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate. So down for that. Are they in the same group? Are we actually getting that match? Oh, I should have looked at the flipping groups here. I should have looked at the groups. I didn't really pay attention as to who's going to be facing who, you know? Yeah, sorry. Bo was doing like real estate. Bo was doing real estate. So he might be like, nah, I'm quite happy. I'll go back to that. Tyler just distracted me because he was talking about Butch, which is Pete Dunne. And then it just made me think, oh my God, are we getting that match? Because that's one of my all-time favorite NXT matches, is when they faced each other. NXT, I want to say Chicago. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say Chicago. I don't know if it's right. Oh, this is interesting. Helicopter landing for Kiana James. Not seen this before. She has been having the helicopter on her graphics, but I don't remember seeing it land before. Kiana James is making her way down to the ring, so we're drastically running out of time for this fatal four-way, aren't we? Lol. Right, Kiana James versus Gigi. Oh, I'll just do first names. Kiana versus Gigi versus Roxanne versus Blair. Just trying to think. There's another boomer and I can't remember who it is. Derek said, Daze, what if in time the court of Wyndham... Oh, yeah, we read that one just. Good. I wanted to make sure I read Derek's. I said we would. Carmen Live said, I've returned to the University Park Mall in Mishawaka, Indiana this past Sunday. Well, I hope you had a good time, my friends. I hope you had a good time. James said, apparently Miro and Punk nearly got into a confrontation straight after Punk and Perry. Let's go. Let's go. I love it, man. Just get a camera backstage. It's an absolute flipping free-for-all. JJ27, shout out to you, my friends. Shout out to you. Horror King Mayhem said, I don't know. I don't think it would be right if anyone does Wyatt other than Bo. Do you think WWE will ever reevaluate the third hour of Raw, focus on rebuilding the brand and letting storylines blossom? I don't know that the brand needs rebuilding, does it? Does it need rebuilding? I mean, they get like 1.8. SmackDown does on average 2.2. I think if you got the right stars and the right stories, I can't see any reason why Raw can't be getting up to where SmackDown is. You know, if Bloodline was on Raw and not on SmackDown, then I feel confident the Raw numbers would be... I don't know if they'd be 2.2 because I don't really know the difference between USA Network and Fox and how many's in how many homes and all that jazz. So I can't, you know, it's hard for me to sit here in the UK saying that they could do the same numbers, but I undoubtedly that would be a bigger number, undoubtedly. So I think the brand is all right. I just think that there's, you know, one show's got Bloodline, the other's got Judgment Day. It's kind of what it comes down to, you know. Will they reevaluate it? No, I mean, no. Not unless there is a lot of money on the table, but they only want a 2-hour Raw. You know, if it's a case that, I don't know, Disney have said, here's a load of money, but we only want 2 hours, not 3. I don't know why you would do that, because content is king. I don't know. Perhaps Disney might say, look, we want 3 2-hour shows, not 2 5-hour, like, together, 3 and a 2. We want, we'll take NXT, but, you know, we're not counting that. We want Raw, SmackDown, and we want another show. You know, all of this is on the table for negotiations. Anything can happen with TV negotiations. So it's going to depend on who purchases the shows and what it is that they want. That'd be sick, man. That'd be sick, wouldn't it? 2-hour Raw, 2-hour SmackDown, and a 2-hour brand new show on a Thursday. Do it, you cowards! Do it! Oh, man, I'd love that. I'd love that. 2-hour Raw, yes, please. 2-hour SmackDown, fine. And then a brand new 2-hour show. So rather than 5 hours across Raw and SmackDown, it's now 6 hours. But it's a 2-hour Raw and a brand new show. And we can then have fun thinking of names. But we're not going to do that yet because there is no new show. So it's pointless talking about a name for a show that doesn't exist. I would love that. So yeah, look, if a company came along and had that as a conversation, then the third hour would be reassessed. But Nick Khan, was it last year, came out and the conversation came up about the third hour of Raw, and his answer was, yeah, I would think about the third hour of Raw. What I'd be thinking is, can I get a fourth? Can I get a fifth? Can I get a sixth? I want as many hours as I can get my hands on. He wants more. More. Because more hours equals more money coming through the door from TV companies and ad revenue and blah, blah, blah. Hurricane said, we do need a new dark gimmick. Joe Gacy is good, but he needs to go darker. Maybe go back to the CZW days. If y'all don't know, he was dark there. Dervin said, do you think Jey Uso will return to Raw and the Bloodline story will be on SmackDown and Raw? Well, I think the Bloodline stories... Well, I don't know yet, but I don't know where we're going with that story, if I'm going to be honest. I don't know what... I mean, Jimmy said that he was done with Roman, and what he didn't do for Roman. So I sort of feel like the Usos have got conflicts. The Usos have got drama between them. And there's a chance that that is away from Roman. So we might not have Bloodline on both shows because Usos might not be Bloodline now. What's this rubbish? It looks like the human centipede. Blair Davenport with a forearm strike on Roxanne. They could go that way and do some on a Saturday or a Thursday. I like the lack of wrestling on Thursdays because there's wrestling 6 days a week. And that's more than I need, said John. It's a good point. Thing is, though, John, you know, I would say that I miss streaming on a Thursday, but actually it's all right. I don't. I don't. It's nice to have a break, actually. It's nice to sit here and just do some research. So actually thinking about it, I'm also all right with not a third show, but if there was a third show, we'd do it, of course, and I'd be excited for it. Can't help it. So powerbomb with a suplex. GG in the corner. Bloodline story has jumped the shark. Roman needs to lose the belts, said NYC Mano War. Do you miss having Raw as the A show, says Big Time Baxter. No, not really. Not really. I'm not really bothered as to what the A show is or what the B show is. If it's Raw, that's the A show. If it's SmackDown, as the A show. I'm not bothered. I just want good shows. Doesn't really matter to me which show is the better show. Doesn't really matter to me which show is got like the juicier storylines. But as long as when I tune, I just want all the shows to be good. Same as everyone else, you know. I would put Joe Coffey into man roster. Please make it happen. What does that mean? Oh, like the men's singles roster. Got you. GG, shoulder first. We're into the overrun. Big shot coming in there by Kiana. Shot coming back by... Oof. These two exchanging blows at the moment. Global Heritage Invitational continues next week. Kojiko Mummy. Huh? Kojiko Mummy said, Millie meet Cleaver, leave gas in a day. Hey, hey, hey. Booty cheeks jumping. It's a good profile name, isn't it? Booty cheeks jumping. That's a good profile name. I'm drinking water. It is a little. I'd love to know what Kojiko looks like. I can't picture Kojiko. I feel like with some people, I can get a bit of a mental image of what they might look like. Just a ballpark sort of, you know. I can't picture Kojiko. I can't picture him. Can't at all. At all. Kojiko, what do you look like? Explain what you look like. In detail. I want to know your age. I want to know if you wear glasses. I want to know if you've got tattoos. I want to know what your hair's like, if you've got hair. Oh, I want a mental image. Have you got a moustache? What's your facial hair like? Are you old and wrinkled like me? Please respond. Is that a different Kojiko? Oh. I'm confused now. I'm confused now. What's going on? Have we got another? Oh, God. Okay, hang on. Well, we'll get to this Kojiko in a second. Roxanne slammed down by Blair and saved by Gigi. I feel like we're getting to the point where this is going to... Well, it's got to wrap up soon, hasn't it? This Fatal 4-Way has got to conclude soon. There's a suplex by Gigi. 2. Roxanne makes the save. Roxanne makes the save. Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light. Right, we've got Gigi down. We've got Blair down. We got Roxanne down. And Kiana is down, but she's down on the outside of the ring. NXT chants from the NXT crowd. They're enjoying the action. Roxanne, head scissors. Kick to the midsection. Pop rocks. No. Yes. Went for it. Kick to the back by Blair. Roxanne chucked into the ring. Blair going up top. Blair with a stomp. Roxanne goes down. Blair looking to... Oh, Roxanne lands on her feet. Kick to the midsection. Goes over looking for Pop Rocks. Gets Pop Rocks. But Blair goes out the ring. Oh. And Roxanne screams because she knows that was a great opportunity to get a pin. Oh, knee strike by Gigi. Oh, she was trying to plant Roxanne down. Roxanne kicked to the midsection. Is she going to go for Pop Rocks on Gigi? No, here's Kiana. Oof. Roxanne goes out the ring. Kiana has exploded in 2, 3. Kiana wins. Kiana against Tiffany. Isn't that heel against heel? All right. Wasn't expecting that at all. Wasn't expecting that. There's big rumors of Tiffany against Becky. So I think this is probably just an opportunity for Kiana to have a shot, have her moment at the title. But I don't expect her to win. Surprised, though. If I had have had a little bet as to who was going to do it, I would have gone Gigi, I think. I think Gigi would have been my pick. It certainly would not have been Kiana. There's Tiffany. Tiffany in the ring, holding up that NXT Women's Championship. Will Kiana James's hand be raised again next week? I wonder if we get Becky next week. Right, well, here's Carmelo. He's going over to see Sean. Just to knock on the door. He opens the door. We need to talk. Carmelo having a word with Sean. I like how he didn't knock. We need to talk. Attitude. Right. Coach Co, Wrestling Daze wouldn't have had the chance to tickle Michael Jackson as he was a professional wrestling content creator and Michael Jackson was a famous musician. I mean, all of that checks out, to be honest. But you are actually incorrect, because I did have an opportunity to tickle Michael Jackson, because I was in London once and there was a big crowd and I was with my parents and we were like, what's all these people doing here? And it turned out Michael Jackson was in a shop in London and we were there when he left the shop. So I didn't really see him, but I feel like I was, you know, probably going back to mid to late 90s, probably around the mid 90s. I reckon I could have got through the crowd. Whether I would have been able to have get close enough to have tickled him, it's going to have security. It would have been a challenge. Feel confident I would have failed. But to say there was no chance that I could have tickled Michael Jackson. And don't forget, I was young and I was pretty cute. There is a chance Michael Jackson would have seen me and I might have been flown around the world with him. I could have slept in his beds at Neverland, Graceland, Neverland. Might have sat on his Ferris wheel. And that's not a euphemism. It's not a euphemism. I mean, his actual Ferris wheel that he had at his home. Who knows? We'll never know. If only he had seen me, I could have been. I might have been on the cover of one of his albums. I might have been his new pet monkey. Who knows? So, Coach Co, shout out to you, my friends. Shout out to you. Still want to know what you look like, and I'm very confused as to why we've got two different Coach Co's in the community. I think I speak for everyone right now when I say we don't need that. One is definitely enough. One is definitely enough. Courtney, good night, my friends. Have a lovely evening. Or night. Whatever it is you're doing. Neverland, that place. That one. That's the one. That's the one, Erase Minds. You got it, buds. You got it. What are we even talking about, says Aubrey? Such a good question. Big Time says, Days Street Profits have been paired with Bobby. Love it. After getting stale. But what exactly has changed? Not much at the moment. Same entrances, theme, ring gear, flying cups, still babyface question mark. I've sensed a bit more of a heel tinge. You know, they jumped a load of people and attacked them for no reason. It's not really a Street Profits thing to do. So we did see that a few weeks ago. Didn't they beat up? Who did they beat up? They jumped in the ring and attacked like Brawling Brutes and attacked some other team for no reason, just to make a statement. That's not really a face thing to do. So I agree, though. Same sort of entrance music, all that. Maybe it's just a process, you know? Maybe we're still very early in this journey. I'm still of the belief that someone else could be put in that group, and we haven't really got a name for the group. So, you know, we'll get there. I'm confident. I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful, actually, because I really like the look of that group. So I've got high hopes. But you're not wrong. It doesn't feel like much has changed yet. Both JC and Gigi have been lost since splitting up, says Big Time. Smurfy said, Daze, you're still cute. Ah, thanks, mate. Thanks. You should have seen me when I was young, though. Woo. I give NXT tonight an 8 out of 10, says Carmen Live. Carmen Live, love it. It's a very positive score. AB said, No Mercy is a month away. Makes sense to have someone like Kiana to feed Tiffany, not one of the legit challengers. I think there's I mean, like, you could have done Gigi. Maybe they want Gigi to be the one to get the belt off her eventually, so they don't want to do Gigi now. If that's the case, then you could have gone Roxanne. I don't know. I do find heel versus heel a little strange. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't really give me anyone to root for. I suppose I'm just going to root for Tiffany because I want to see her against Becky more than I want to see Becky against Kiana. So I suppose I root for Tiffany. But, yeah, I think we could have found, you know, there's enough people, credible women in NXT that I think we could have found a different challenger, but it's not one that I'm bothered by. Not bothered by it. I'm not like crazy down on it. And actually, I think the match is next week, so I don't think it's No Mercy. I think it's next week. So it's just the payoff is only on an NXT episode anyway. So you know, it's not bothered. Not bothered. We move on. There's bigger things in the world. Russell Andy said, do you think there's a chance of Kiana winning next week? No. Well, there is a chance, but, you know, I think it's tiny. I give it a 1%. 1%. But I already know what Austin's going to say. Even as I'm saying that, I can hear Austin going, oh, didn't you say that Cody had a 90% chance of winning at WrestleMania? And in all fairness to Austin, he hasn't said that yet. But you know, when you can just sense that something's coming like that. Just honestly, I feel like I know this community very well. Austin says Roxanne is the next champ, no doubt. Her not winning tonight was the right call because I don't think Tiffany should lose the title yet. But I would go with Gigi then. I will counter that by going, if Roxanne's the one that's going to win the title, then I'd go Gigi winning tonight so that Gigi gets the shot. But then someone will be like, well, Gigi might be the person she faces at No Mercy. But I got to tell you, I'm hearing Becky. I'm hearing big Becky rumors. So I think we've got to factor Becky in somewhere as well. I actually think Becky might be the one to get the belt off Tiffany because Becky never won that NXT Women's Championship. And there are rumors that she could be coming to work a program with Tiffany. But you know what these rumors are like. Can't always believe them. Jim said Kiana has a 0% chance. AB Jobs said Roxanne should have a match at No Mercy. But if it's not for the title, I wonder what he or she could go against. Yeah, I mean, she's just worked a program with Blair. I don't know if that's now concluded. I felt like there was a bit more we could have done in that. It didn't. But I don't mind that it's done. I don't mind that it's done. Have we done her and JC? JC Jane? Can't remember. I mean, maybe you look to put her with one of the Metaphor girls because they're getting a bit of spotlight at the moment, you know. Got to do something with Lash Legend. Or maybe, because we haven't even got NXT women's tag titles anymore, have we? I mean, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend, you would think would be perfect for NXT women's tag titles. But fun fact, we ain't got them anymore, so we can't. So what do you do with Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson? Do you do Lash Legend against Roxanne just as a little program or something? Someone. Samuel, shout out to you, my friend. Welcome. Coach Co said 2 Coach Co's. Ha 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 ha. Coach Co, shout out to you. Shahid said, will you brought up Blair and Creed to the main roster? That will be possible. I love the Creeds. Love the Creeds. So excited. They're like American Alpha on cocaine. On like, you know what I mean? They're turned up to the max. They're just fantastic. Strength, skill, technique, credibility, look, promo. I think in Julius as well, you've got a potential John Cena. I think you've got a Randy Orton. I think you've got a WrestleMania main eventer. I think he's amazing. I think he's got everything. He can talk. He's got a great look. He's got heart. He's credible. The fans love him. That tag team is gold. Gold. And I'm not saying any. I don't think I'm saying anything that people haven't seen. I'm you know, it's just amazing, amazing. So very excited for the Creeds. And Blair is. You could put her on the main roster. She's wrestled for a long time. She is credible, but I feel like I just need to see a bit more from her. I feel like I need to see a bit more from her. I don't feel like she's been around all that long in NXT. She's been in wrestling a long time, and she did a fair bit in NXT UK, and you could absolutely call her up and just, you know, she's good enough to just go to the roster now and find her feet, whatever. But I think I would like to see a bit more from her in NXT. Just have a look at the presentation and see if it's right or see if it needs to be tweaked. Because I do feel like she's a really good talent. And if I'm going to benchmark her to Jamie Hayter, I don't think, you know, no one's buzzing about Blair the same way that people buzz around Jamie Hayter. But I would say they're very, very comparable. Very comparable. They're both Japanese trained. They're both fantastically technical, skillful in the ring. Both hard hitting. Both, you know, got a good look, credible. So I do look at it and go, well, Jamie Hayter has got a hell of a buzz around her. She was AEW Women's Champion. She's the talk of the town when it comes to women's wrestling. That should and could be Blair Davenport. Something's not right, so because that's not happening. But you know, we're not having those conversations about Blair. Like we're not talking about Blair the way we're talking about Jamie. So we need to tweak something. Something doesn't seem right. Something doesn't seem right. And it could just be we've not seen enough of her. Could just be that she's not, you know, she's not been around long enough. And so she hasn't had a chance to show what she can do and have those great matches. I mean, there's no real great matches to hang your hat on. There's no real great promos to hang your hat on. She's capable, but I just don't think we've seen them, which hasn't got the ball rolling. So it could just be that. Could just be that. She's a great talent. I'm definitely here for, you know, her succeeding. But something's not quite right at the moment. But it might not be anything massive. What went down on TNT Sports with HBK and Taker? Yeah, that's on at the moment. It's a good little show, that. But I've seen it so many times. Horror King said, what is the point in the Creeds losing and leaving NXT if they didn't go anywhere? They didn't leave. Yeah, it was, I mean, storyline in it. They lost the match, which meant they had to go. They then sort of left because the Creeds weren't around, but they, you know, joined the schism. I don't know how the schism didn't know that they were there, but they didn't. They were behind these masks. And So they, they did leave in the sense of we've not had Creed matches. We haven't had Creed promos. They've been around behind schism masks, but we haven't been having Creed, segments, Diamond Mine segments. We haven't been having any of those. So, they obviously had a plan. They kidnapped Ava. They got their rematch, and then they got back into WWE, so into NXT. So it's just a little storyline thing. I did think that there was more to it. I was thinking, right, this is where they get called up, so I was quite excited about that. But turns out that wasn't the plan. The plan was just to, do a little storyline thing, and I don't mind it. I'm not down on the fact that they didn't leave NXT. I don't mind it. Decent story. It's all right. You can certainly ask why the schism didn't know that they were behind the masks. I think that's perfectly acceptable to ask that question, but I don't mind the story. Please 200 said, did you see that WWE signed Brian Pillman? What are your thoughts on that? Well, Pillman was never doing a great deal in AEW. I mean, they did try a few things with him, and it just never seemed to quite land. I think there is someone there that's got something. I think there's definitely, but he's not a signing that gets me that excited. I don't see Brian Pillman. I think people are excited because he's come from AEW, and it's like someone jumping over from one team to another, and so I think that's a bit of a story, but really outside of that, I don't care about that doesn't bother me. I'm more interested in what do WWE do with Brian Pillman, and I think there's been a few moments, when he was in the varsity tag team, the Varsity Blondes, was it Varsity Club, whatever, they with Julia Hart, do you remember that, them days when Julia Hart was the cheerleader? I thought there was some decent stuff there. I thought there was some good matches. Then there was the promo. Who was he feuding with? Was it MJF? Did he have a feud with MJF? And MJF was like, crossing the line a bit, and there was a bit of back and forth. And Brian Pillman, I remember cutting some promos, had a little bit of fire to them, where he was firing back, and there's definitely something there. I don't see it being a big, massive, major star, but he could be a solid mid-card, a steady hand type, or maybe tag team guy. Certainly there's enough there for WWE to go, let's bring him in. Let's bring him in and see what we can do with him. And yeah. It's a weird one, because I don't look at him and see this massive star like, yeah, I'm glad they got him. Oh my God, he's going to be amazing. Like, yeah, he's a real, AEW have dropped the ball, blah, blah, blah. I don't see that. I just see someone that's pretty solid that you could pick up, but if you didn't pick him up, I don't think it'd be a great loss. And I'm going to be very interested to see what we do with him, and to see what WWE want to do with him. And maybe the fact that it is Brian Pillman's kid, maybe that has played a factor, and they've thought, well, we can definitely get some out of that. I don't know. He seems solid. He seems all right. I think you can do some stuff with him. But it's not one that's got my heart going and my pulse racing or anything like that, But it'd be all right. It'd be all right. Shahid said, if I was Triple H, he'd be brought up in the draft after WrestleMania 40, involving NXT, and call them up then. Juan said, some of the people that came from NXT to the main roster are lost. Not always, not like Zoe. Zoe's doing all right. I went to see Raw. I want to see Raw versus NXT versus SmackDown, said Samuel. Hopefully he'll be like his dad's, them like he was in AEW. Yeah, they might look to just change and tweak his presentation. Travis said Pillman got buried by the booking committee, aka the unprofessional EVPs, and was chased out of the company. AB Jobs said Corbin feels lost again. It looked like a Wagner feud, but that's now been given to Braun. Yeah, those vignettes of him burning the stuff in the past and everything and saying this is going to be a new future and getting a bit of new music and slightly changing his ring gear and burn the ships and all of that was really interesting. But I agree, it doesn't feel like we've really made much of a shift here. Doesn't feel like we've really changed a great deal. So, don't know, I feel like he needs like a good promo, good solid segment. He didn't get one on the show this week, and even last week the match was really short, didn't get much time. Like, they started brawling and then Bron hit a spear, and that was it last week as well. So I feel like it's been a few weeks since I've really seen like a juicy segment out of him. And actually the last segment we saw I thought was quite good, which was a back and forth between him and Von Wagner. Thought that was quite good actually. So I am still on board very much with the Baron Corbin revival, rebrand. But I do agree that we've not seen anything revolutionary yet, apart from that video package, which was where he's burning the stuff and everything. I thought that was really good. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We could just do with another juicy segment, but unfortunately we didn't get one this week. Big Mike said, I just got tickets for All Out. Do you think Punk will be there? I don't think so. There's big rumors that he's going to get suspended. What do you think the main event will be now that they've only got a week to build it? Well. There's not a challenge for MJF that's shown itself unless we, do a number one contenders thing on... Unless MJF's in the ring and then someone confronts him and then it just results in a match at the weekend. Do you do... I was going to say, do you do Roderick Strong against MJF? Because I could see Roderick Strong coming down and berating Adam Cole and berating MJF and getting in MJF's face. But I think, is he injured at the moment? I know he's got like a neck brace thing on, but I don't know how legit that is. I'm just trying to think, like, who could MJF feud with that would make sense right now? And you could do a rematch with Adam Cole, but I don't think they'll do that. The one person that's really angry with MJF right now is Roderick Strong. So you could lean into that, but I don't know if that's possible. So unless you just find a random challenger, the title picture's a little tricky. CM Punk seems to be suspended, so I think he would have been the main event, but word on the street is he might not make the show. I think if you haven't got MJF and you haven't got CM Punk, then you probably turn into Kenny and the Elite, aren't you? That's your next big thing. So we might be looking at a Kenny match. Maybe Kenny against Ospreay. You could easily do that. Well, I say easily. Maybe not easily. I don't know if Ospreay's still around, but maybe Kenny Switchblade. Oh my God, Kenny against Switchblade, singles match. Oh. Actually, do you know what? Might not be a problem with CM Punk not being around if we're going to do Kenny against Switchblade. That'll be a banger. I love Kenny singles matches, solo matches. My big criticism is we don't get enough of them. But when we do get them, they feel special. So him against Switchblades, I'd definitely take that. Strong enough to main event and All Out if the rest of the card's a bit so-so. I don't know. I mean, it does it for me, but I don't know. Answers on a postcard as to whether it does it for you. Jim said, after losing the NWA Women's Championship, where will Camille go? Is she finished with NWA? Because, I'd love to see her in NXT. Certainly she wouldn't go straight to the main roster. They'd want her in NXT first. But I think AEW would take her because they've lost to Jade Cargill, seemingly. So I think she could easily be the replacement and a better replacement. Or WWE would have to be interested. You've got Rhea Ripley Raquel Rodriguez. You know, we're talking big, strong women. Camille is right in that wheelhouse. She might be the queen of that wheelhouse. She looks fantastic. She's big. She's strong. She would be a great asset to any of the companies. So I could only imagine it would be a fight for her signature, to be honest. And I'd be shocked if it wasn't. Tommy Toy Travels says WWE NXT. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you. Who is Switchblades? Switchblade Jay White, you the guy that's like the leader of Bullet Club Gold with Juice Robinson. He was a big name in New Japan. And he's kind of, well, I mean, he's not really a big name in AEW, but I think we'll get there. But seeing them in a singles match, I mean, it would be fantastic. It would be an incredible match. Will Ospreay will be at Bound for Glory in Chicago for Impact, said Kieran. Does that mean he won't be doing... Could he do All Out as well? Are they on at the exact same time? Or if they're on at the same time, then clearly he's not going to be. But if he's in Chicago area, like the day before, to do Impact on the Saturday, and then he could do AEW on the Sunday or something, then maybe he could be there. Maybe we do get Kenny against Ospreay. Don't know. Becky going to NXT is similar to when AJ and Kofi or any other went there. It doesn't hurt, it helps. I agree with that. I don't see Becky going back as a problem at all. I actually really like it because I think that when her career is done, again, I'm putting myself in her situation. One thing that would frustrate me is the fact I'd never got that NXT championship. Becky was a bit of a late bloomer. She was credible in NXT. She was good. She just never quite made it to the championship. There was always someone that was just preferred over her to be champion. Be it Charlotte or Sasha or, you know, whoever else. I don't think she was around when Asuka came in. She might have been. There might have been a bit of a crossover, but I don't think there was. But either way, there was always someone else in the way. And so I feel she was a bit of a late bloomer. You know, she used to do that kind of steampunk kind of thing, which once she dropped that and became the man, I mean, it is that moment at SummerSlam. That moment is the moment that changes everything for Becky. She's in a triple threat match. I forget the year. I don't know if it was 2018, but she was in a triple threat match. And it was meant to be a singles one-on-one match, but it became a triple threat because Charlotte got herself into the match. And Becky was like a bit off with like, not happy about this. And then Becky loses the match. And the crowd wanted Becky to be angry. And she slaps Charlotte and the place erupts. The place goes crazy. And that shift in attitude, that shift in mentality puts Becky on the path that ultimately leads to her being the man and all that stuff. So I can't remember what year that was off the top of my head, but that was a big moment. And I would say that she was second fiddle up until that point. And that point changes everything. So she changes her momentum. She changes... she goes from being the bridesmaid to being the bride in that moment for me. And I think that for her now, as the big star that she is, to want to go back to NXT and right that wrong and fix that, you know, that she was never champ and now she can be, I would support that. I would support that. I think that would be a good story. And I could understand her wanting to end her career with that achievement there. When she looks at Wikipedia and it's got the list of what she achieved, one-time NXT Women's Champion, it's there. Because, you know, you get all these Grand Slam, Mega Grand Slam, Super Duper Grand Slam, right? You get all of these achievements. It's like, what's Super Duper Grand Slam? Oh, yeah. Well, that's where you won the SmackDown Women's. It's where you won the Raw Women's. It's where you won the Women's World. It's where you won the WWE Women's Championship. And you needed the NXT one as well. And that's how you became the Super Duper Grand Slam champion. But it's like, you know, if she wants to unlock that level of Grand Slam championship, then she's going to need to add an NXT championship to her resume. So I can understand her wanting it. If she had already achieved it and it was done already, then I'd be like, does she need to go back? I mean, you'd just be looking at it as they're trying to get Becky to put a bit of star power to NXT now, like we've done with Charlotte and blah blah blah. But the fact that Becky has not won that belt, I think there's a real reason for her to go back to NXT, a real purpose for her to go back to NXT. So I don't mind it at all. Don't mind it at all. Sometimes people go back and you can't quite figure out why. Like, there's not really a reason, but I think with Becky, for me, it makes sense why she would want to go back. So I'm looking forward to that, to be honest. Looking forward to it. Right, I think we're done anyway. I mean, like, I feel like you've held me hostage, and I feel like I've held you hostage, and I feel like we've all been held hostage, and I don't really know why. But we've just been having a good little chit-chat, haven't we? And I really appreciate it. Of course I do. So I thank you all for joining us. I know that the streams at the moment have not been maybe as fun as I always hope that they will be. Again, I think people know and understand. We're taking steps, of course, towards getting back to where we were, and we'll get there. But it's just taking a little bit of time. Hopefully, you know, now we're done with a round of shows since Bray's passing. You know, we can go into the next shows with, you know, less expectation of how are they going to pay tribute, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, you know, once those kind of conversations have been had, you know, you move on, don't you? So, you know, we're finding out details. That's keeping Bray kind of conversations going, if you will. But, you know, by the time we get to like Payback and past Payback and whatever, then, you know, I'm sure we'll be in the process of moving on. Never forgetting, though. Never forgetting. And yeah, I really appreciate people like sticking with us, if you will, and bearing with us and showing a bit of understanding. Big Mike said, I came in here to check because when I think of Bray, I think of this channel. I hope you're doing good. Keep up the energy. It's contagious. Big Mike, shout out to you, my friends. I appreciate you swinging by and stopping by. And yeah, I mean, I've said before, I'm absolutely fine. I think I'm no different to anybody else in the sense of I'm a wrestling fan, I'm a Bray fan, and always wanted to see him succeed. And the news is shocking and something that's difficult to wrap your head around and process. But I am not feeling that any more than anyone else. I think we are absolutely all in this boat together. This is a big boat. There's a lot of us in this boat. Thousands and thousands and thousands of us all in this boat. And I think that we are doing all right. I think we're doing all right. But I think there are also some that are struggling, which is understandable. And I keep finding myself repeating the same messages, but there's not really much else to say other than, you know, I understand there will be some of you out there that are really struggling. I think I'm pretty good. Like, I think it just comes with age and life experience, where, you know, you understand that these things happen. You understand that life like that, it happens. You know, I mean, we've for someone like my age, I've been through the Owen tragedy. I've been through Eddie's passing. Obviously, a lot of us that have, you know, not new to wrestling, went through Brody passing as well a few years ago. So I feel like we've been through this. I mean, this one hurts and hits different because, like, it's Bray, and that's, you know, we did a lot of content on Bray because he gave us a lot to talk about. So it is definitely one that's hit harder than a lot of others. I don't think that's unfair, but we're all in this boat together. And as we said, you know, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. But if you are struggling, then just know there's places for you to reach out to. There's, you know, I said on the Wrestling Escape, I think, was it the Wrestling Escape Pods? I can't remember. I know there's like groups that you can go to, Bray Wyatt fan groups that, you know, won't be shutting down. I would imagine they're just a hive of activity right now, and you should check them out. If you're struggling, there will be like-minded people in those groups that are expressing the same sort of feelings that you are feeling. And I think there is real therapy and support in seeing people going through the same thing you're going through. I think there's real... I think it's soothing, it's healing, it helps to know that you're not alone in feeling the way you are feeling, and that there are others that are going through it. This is why, to me, Becky breaking down was actually really important. It was really important. It was like, that was something that I think needed to happen at some point, was for us to see that, you know, he did matter. Because if the wrestlers are just going about their business and it's just a normal show and no one's seemingly bothered, then why are we all so absolutely crushed? Why are we all so absolutely devastated if the show's just going on as normal? So seeing Becky, like, you know, finish her match, immediately take her armband up, hold it up, and then not cope and break down, you go, there it is. There it is. It's not far from the surface. That brave face could only last for so long, you know? And there was, I've no doubt, a lot of brave faces that were being put on during SmackDown and Raw. A lot. Probably all of them. Because all you've heard is great things about him. So, yeah, chin up, keep moving forwards, and it does get easier, you know. And I know people have been saying, like, look, can we focus on something else? And that's fair. That's fair. I got no problems with that. We will. It's just, it's going to be a process, you know. At the moment, this is where the conversation is. So just got to work through this, and then we'll get to it. But each stream that passes by will get, you know, easier. So a thank you from me for everyone that's just bared with us, you know. And Mike, thanks for stopping by, dude. Really appreciate it. John said, I think that they should have had Terry and Bray tributes as the last two segments on Monday to end the show, and they should have given Becky more time at the end of her match, says John. Right, we're done. Appreciate the support, and hopefully I will see you again next time. We're back tomorrow with AEW Dynamite, and obviously we're on the road to Payback, so I need to go off and do some predictions and whatever, because I still haven't done those. So I'm going to go off and have something to eat, think about doing that, and have a great evening.